Boar's Head is bringing a slice of Japan to the deli. Introducing Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. Tender, slow-roasted chicken breast, coated in our signature teriyaki glaze, where ginger, garlic, and a hint of brown sugar meet for a flavor that's both sweet and savory. New Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. The bold flavor of Japan. Now at the deli. Only from Boar's Head. Compromise elsewhere.
Blog Talk Radio.
Here we go. Blast off.
This is True Capitalist Radio. True Capitalist Radio.
I am your host, the man they call Ghost.
The badass of business.
Give him capitalism or give him death. That's it. Period.
Broadcasting from his Skyline office studios in beautiful downtown Austin, Texas.
You sound fruitier than a box of Fruit Loops, for Christ's sake.
And now, he'll take it from here. Your host, the prognosticator of prognosticators, the man they call Ghost.
Today, all the way around, folks. If you happen to be an investor, hopefully you got the tweet this morning or the tweets, I should say, plural, for my Twitter account, Ghost Politics, basically letting everybody know, hey, maybe it's time to evaluate your positions at certain times, and if they get below a certain comfort point within your realm of comfort, well, then maybe it's it's time to sell off a couple of your positions. But once again, folks, I don't want everybody to kind of worry about what's happening here. As you can see, there was no consistency in the market today. We had a constant drop of everything: commodities, equities, gold, oil. Everything. Every single thing, for Christ's sake. It's disgusting. And why are we seeing this? Because as I've said time and time again, folks, well, there's a lot of reasons. If you take a look at episode number 40, for all those folks that are keeping track, this is episode number 41. But if you take a look at or listen to yesterday's episode, when I was talking to, I believe it was the listener, Billy D. Williams, when we were discussing the market's helter-skelter-like activity. When we were talking about how, it seems a little bit tentative for anybody at this point in time to get into the market. And as I've predicted in the past shows, folks, if you look back in the archive even further, I've been calling this economic contraction that was going to happen in mid-spring back in January. And you can look back in the archive for that. No BS. And let me tell you, I know that we've seen a dramatic sell-off. I mean, just looking at the markets, look at it all together. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and look at it right now. Now, as we see on the equities markets, man, it just took a tumbling today. And there was a lot of factors that we're going to get into in a little bit on why the equities markets was just taking a tank. Now, the Dow Jones Industrials, folks, went down below 12,000. It closed out today at 11,984.60. It decreased 228.48 points, a decrease of 1.87%. Now, once again, I think that this was just a little tad bit oversold today because as you look at all the markets all across the boards, everything took a hit. The only thing that didn't take a hit was treasuries. And as you folks know, I'm not a real big bond person. I'm not a real bond trader, so to speak. I know I can get bigger yields out of my own financial speculation as opposed to sitting here, depending on a bond that I'm not going to be able to get my full maturity until I hold on to it for so many years. But believe it or not, the bond market was the only thing on the plus side. Anyway, let me run through the markets and I'll give my synopsis. Now, the Dow Jones Industrials, we talked about that. S&P 500 decreased today 24.91 points, a decrease of 1.89%. It closed out today at 1,295.11. Pretty bad hit for everybody that was invested. Doesn't matter what you were invested in today. You saw it, and you had to be on top of things, and you had to make certain judgment calls depending on where you got in on certain positions, on whether or not you were going to let go of some things and liquidate some things, take profits on certain profits, that sort of thing. So that's why when you follow the Twitter account, Ghost Politics is the name to follow. That's exactly why you need to follow the damn Twitter account, because let me tell you, it's very important. I'm up at 6, sometimes 5:30 in the morning trading futures. And when I'm trading futures, it's a pretty good gauge of the market. And if you look at the Twitter account, before the market opened, I was getting people ready for a potential bad day on the market. I mean, if you look at the Twitter account, my first Twitter, as a matter of fact, let's go to the Twitter account really quick so I can just be precise here. We'll come back to the markets here in just 1 second. But if we look back today, what was it, 8 hours ago, which was when right before the market was about to open, 30 minutes, I said, as I predicted, a pullback in the markets as mid-spring approaches. The morning futures look red all around, even commodities. And then I put WTF, which, for all you folks that know, you should know, you're on the internet, it means what the F word. The next tweet I put, which was 15 minutes after the market opened, man, believe me, I liquidated some positions, and I had to do what I had to do. Believe me, there was a lot of things I was doing this morning. But once I did that, after about the first hour or so, I didn't really worry about it. I knew it was going to be a sell-off, just as long as I knew that the positions that I had weren't going to be jeopardized too dramatically on the sell-off. But, literally like 15 minutes after the market opens, I Twitter major sell-offs in equities markets. If some stocks in your portfolio are dipping too low for comfort, consider selling. And let me tell you, I hope some of you took my advice, because let me tell you, a lot of things sold off today. It was really ridiculous. I mean, and like I've said time and time again, if you listen to the broadcast in the archive, I consistently say this is a helter-skelter market. But once again, if you're in for the long term on some of these equities that are based on sound fundamentals, and I'm going to talk about all this in a second, I think that consumer confidence is rising. I think things are getting a little bit better. We just have to gauge what happens to oil. And if we gauge what happens to oil, then we figure out where we're going to go. Remember, let's just talk about all that in a second. Anyway, NASDAQ, we didn't talk about the NASDAQ. It closed out today at 2,701.02, a decrease today of 50.70 points, another decrease of 1.84%. So all around, almost 2% across the board in the equities markets and the major American equities markets. I mean, it wasn't a good day. It wasn't a good day. So that's why it's important to keep up with the True Capitalist Twitter, because you could have gotten a heads up on this and said, well, hey, man, let me look on my portfolio and so on and so forth. Now, if you're one of these investors that are, as sophisto as I am, that likes to expand my horizons in investment when it comes to financial instruments, like I do in options and futures, really. I like trading a lot of futures, especially in the commodities markets. There was a goddamn sell-off in the commodities markets, for Christ's sake. I mean, there's nothing going the way traditional investment is the way it's supposed to go. Nothing. I mean, everything is going helter-skelter. Let's look at the Brent crude, shall we? Brent crude closed out today at $115.25, decreasing at about 69 cents. All right? The change today was negative 0.60. Gasoline futures down $5.75. Heating futures down $3.17. Natural gas down 10 cents, for heaven's sake. We never see any kind of movement off natural gas. Natural gas is pretty much flat. Jesus Christ. Then we got West Texas crude, which is the sweet crude, which is the American crude oil that we consume, folks. Let me tell you something right now. $102.44 a barrel that it's currently trading at. It actually went lower than that, but let me tell you, we're starting to hear news out of the Middle East, out of Saudi Arabia, just as I predicted, folks. This is why I was telling everybody yesterday, wait till after Friday before you start even considering. If you have not gotten in the equities markets at this point in time, you wait till after this whole debacle happens in the Middle East before you start dipping into the equities markets. Sell-offs all around in the commodities, man. Nothing was in the plus side today except for a few things. We're going to talk about them for a second. In a little bit, excuse me. Let's just run down the commodities really quick because everything was on the negative, for heaven's sake, except for soybean. You know, I mean, having to put money in soybean, you might have gotten a little bit of cash, but and wool was up today. But canola futures down $1.60. Cocoa futures down $82. Corn futures down $18.25. Cotton futures down $3.43. Wheat futures down $16.50. Sugar down $1.71. And of course, we come to soybean futures. Soybean futures, we got some kind of a pop for some reason. I mean, I guess everybody got a hard on for soybean. But it was up today, $6.50, an increase of 0.48. Lumber futures a sell-off at negative $5.60. Oat futures a negative $11. Can we keep going for Christ's sake? Soybean oil futures. Soybeans were up. Soybean oil futures were down 19 cents. And then wool futures increased $13 on the plus side. We go to the metals market, we saw a sell-off in the metals market, just as much as we saw a sell-off in commodities. Copper down $1.35. Gold down $16.90. I mean, even though we're still above $1,400, $16.90 a decrease on gold, closing out on a price of $1,412.70 per troy ounce of gold. Silver had a pretty decent decrease itself after considerable all-time gains, or 30-year highs, I should say. $35.27 is what it closed out at today, negative 77 cents. Live cattle futures took a little bit of a dip. I wouldn't call it much, but, still somewhat in the negative, minus 75 cents. Cattle feeder futures, instead of going up or down, they're just staying flat today. And lean hog futures down, actually, $1.02. So, man, it's just all around. Everything was just being sold off today, man. Everything. Now, if you're in the market, you're asking yourself, well, why is the market reacting this way, Ghost? Well, first and foremost, I had been predicting this. I had been predicting this since the beginning of January. I had been saying that we are going to start seeing an economic contraction in this market as we go into mid-spring. And if you don't believe me, take a look in the archive. It's said it like 80 times a show. And as, what's next week? Spring break, huh? The middle of spring. And what are we starting to see? We're starting to see an economic contraction in the equities markets. And not only that, it's spooking the investors so much that they don't even know where to go. They don't even know what to do, for heaven's sake. They don't know what, the treasuries were up today. Freaking bonds, for heaven's sake. Nobody knows what the hell to do. Everybody's just running scared at this point in time. Why are they running scared? Well, folks, let's just start saying that, the world, for a lack of a better term, is not only going into disorder. All right? Half the world is going into disorder. The other half of the world is flat broke. Yeah. Flat freaking broke. Now, let me explain what I'm saying. The whole reason why we're so skittish on all these markets is because we had Moody's, which is one of the big credit rating firms that rates credit, for countries, believe it or not, if whether or not, based on their political, social, and economic infrastructure, they'll be able to fulfill the obligations of treasuries that are sold on the open economic global market. And Moody's downgraded today, a lot of European countries, one of which was Spain, which is now having a 20% unemployment rate at this point in time. Another was Portugal, was another downgrade by Moody's. Another downgrade, of course, we've already known this. This came out days ago. Greece. So it looks to me like the damn European Union is falling apart. It looks like the damn socialist system that the European Union is trying to shove down their people's throats is breaking them blind. And Moody's today is basically telling everybody who's invested in these countries, whether it's, in any kind of fashion, basically in treasury bonds. Because remember, folks, anytime you purchase treasury bonds from a country, you're helping that country fund itself. And the reason that interest rates, go higher or lower, it's based upon an individual country's ability to repay those treasury bonds that are sold on the open global market. That's how these damn countries raise money for themselves. The problem is that when they raise money by selling these treasury bonds on the open global market, these governments, all right, these governments here are actually using the money because there's they don't run like a company. Governments don't run like companies. What they do is they just take the money and they do what's going on here in America. They do what's going on there in Europe. They do what's going on. It's a socialist idea. And you see, at this point in time, all this socialism is catching up to the Europeans, and the Europeans look like they may default on their debt. Now, what does that mean? That means everybody who's invested in any kind of treasuries out there could lose some serious goddamn money. You ain't going to see it. You understand what I'm saying? And this right here is what spooked the market in equities and commodities. Seriously. I mean, when this economic data came out from Moody's, it spooked everybody. It's like, what? I thought we were growing here, emerging markets. Europe, not even with the European Union and that whole, bureaucratic political bureaucracy, could they sustain itself with its, socialist model? And it's coming back to haunt them. Now, why is Moody's rating Portugal, Spain, Greece? Why are they rating them at such a bad rating? Well, because the government is trying to restructure their whole system. Remember, they got bailed out. Remember that? I don't know if you folks are familiar with, international economics, but they got bailed out. Remember when, was it April 2010, man? These idiots were rioting in the streets of Greece because, they ran out of money. They didn't know, they couldn't retire at 40 years old anymore. They have to work actual work days instead of working, 4 hours a day with 3-hour lunches and all this crap. They can't do that whole socialist crap anymore, and it's pissing them off. So they're killing people in the streets. They're rioting. They're blaming bankers. They're blaming bankers because they can't live like useless pieces of garbage, okay? But even though they were in debt, Greece was in debt, and Ireland is another country that was in debt. There were still investors who agreed to actually invest in the country, buy more treasury bonds, so that they can, so they can get some money, so that they can somehow restructure their fiscal economic situation as a country. The problem is that when you look like a high risk as a country, like Ireland, Portugal, Spain, Greece. When you're a high risk as an investor, you're not going to want to invest in those countries unless those interest rates go up. You want those yields to go dramatically up, and that's why some of these countries. As I read, Spain, believe it or not, was actual. They're actually still selling treasury bonds. But those treasury bonds are at 17% interest. So anyone who is, believe it or not, anybody who's invested Treasury bonds in Spain, I believe it's Spain or Portugal, one of those European Union states that recently sold Treasury bonds on the global market. They're actually, still getting buyers for these bonds because they're putting a high interest rate. The problem is Moody's doesn't believe they're going to pay it back. Moody's doesn't believe that these countries are going to be solvent. Moody's doesn't believe that there's just anything that's going to – this is going to be a default. It's going to be a default. And what does that mean? That means the people that invested in those bonds are going to lose money, and no one is going to fund or finance any kind of actual investment into any of those countries any longer. And they're just going to be desolate. I don't know what the hell they're going to do. And the reason they're downgrading it, folks, is because the governments know they have to reform in Europe. They have to reform this socialist system. But as you've seen in the True Capitalist Radio broadcast's chat room, a lot of these Europeans don't want to go. They want socialism to stay. They want to just be, losers that, don't want to work hard and just, be some obnoxious jerk ass that works about, like I said, 4 or 5 hours a day with 2 or 3 hour lunches, folks. I'm kidding you not. All right, I mean, this is it, and they are literally going to the streets. They're rioting in the streets. It's disgusting, man. It really is. It's really disgusting what's happening. But okay, now how does that affect the markets exactly? Well, let me explain why the markets and the equities markets have seen a bull run since 2008. Remember, we saw the crash of 2008. We talked about yesterday how yesterday was the anniversary of the lowest point in the markets. The lowest point in the markets, what was it? Yesterday was the 2-year anniversary. 2 years ago yesterday is when the Dow Jones Industrials was 6,700, for Christ's sake. I mean, even though we closed out, below 12,000, we were still above 12,000. 2 years ago it was 6,500. Yesterday, March 9th, 2009, the Dow Jones Industrials was 6,500. The damn S&P was 600 points. The whole goddamn index, the whole market, man. That's why I'm saying, folks, why did that dramatic increase happen? Well, let me explain to you what's happening to our currency, which is something that I have been consistently talking about even since I began this program as True Conservative Radio, okay, back even those days. All right, now what's happening here is that we have the Federal Reserve printing out money with these programs called QE1, QE2, which is supposed to cause quantitative easing within the markets. Basically what all that economic technical jargon means is that we're just going to flood the market with dollars so that everybody, seems like they're making money to a certain extent. That's why even though everybody is rebounding supposedly here within the past, 6 to 9 months, we've lowered our standards, as a society. We're not necessarily growing it. I don't know if you've noticed this. We are in 2011, and it still seems to me, outside maybe some tablets and some smartphones, it still seems like 1995 to me. I don't see where technology is increased, in any kind of consumer demand, or we've evolved in some kind of a market where, technology has provided us with anything that we really haven't seen yet. That's my personal perspective. Like I said, there's a couple of things, but why is that? Because, let's be honest, folks, we're not making any money out here. And why aren't we making any money? Because, our government, first of all, has spent out of control. I told you yesterday that 30% of America's income is entitlements, government entitlements, government handouts. 30% of the American income is, handouts. Now, 15 years ago, it was only 10% of the American income. Yeah, 10% of the American income was entitlements. Now, that's a big difference, okay? Now, we have been depleting our dollar for a long time. Now, I mean, printing out dollars. As a matter of fact, you look back in the archives, man, in 2008, I was talking about this. I mean, at that time, in 2008, the euro was so high on the dollar, for Christ's sake. I mean, what was it, $1.75, or what was it, $1.75 for €1 or something like that? It was just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And the reason is because we printed out all this money to, continue to try to spend our way out of the debts that we put ourselves in, Well, as a result, this has actually helped America's equities markets, folks, because the depleting of the American dollar, has continued from when we actually crashed, when the economic meltdown happened in 2008 up until now. The depleting of the American dollar has actually helped the equities markets. Yeah, that's the only thing that's sustaining any type of actual growth in the equities, in the stock market. I'm not joking. I know that it's hard for people to believe, but as your value in your American dollar continues to deplete, obviously anybody who's an investor, I've been talking about this as well, is going to move their money to something else to hedge against any type of more depletion or hedge against any kind of inflation. So as a result, this is why you saw so much gains from yesterday, in March 9, 2009, when the Dow Jones Industrials was 6,500, and now it's it closed out below 12,000, but we've seen over 12,000 Dow here within the past month. I mean, we've seen 90% increases in the S&P 500. Now, why is that, folks? And this is why I was saying, look back in the archive in January's editions of the True Capitalist Radio program. I mean, this market that we were looking at, this bull market, was based on a lot of different factors that were farce. Not to say that there was no way to capitalize, but, it was a farce. Now that the European market is collapsing, now that Moody's has put out this report about Spain, Portugal, Greece, now that literally the euro is collapsing from its own socialism, all of a sudden, by default, it strengthens the integrity of the American dollar. Yeah, it actually brings back value to the American dollar. Like those people that were trading or doing business in euros, they're losing money because the integrity of the euro is being jeopardized by the socialist economic system that encompasses the European Union. And now that they're trying to transition these systems into somewhat, quasi-socialist capitalist, something that will still appease and attract individuals to buy treasury bonds for these countries and still be able to pay them back. I mean, they're trying to restructure their whole economic system. The people don't want it. The people don't want to have anything to do with it. They want to continue to be socialists, and this is why you're seeing a complete dramatic increase in the equities markets. And I'm serious, folks. I mean, it's because the dollar, because of the potential collapse. I mean, in my personal opinion, if you look at the economic data that came out of Europe, it looks like they're on the verge of literal collapse. The whole system out there. And, if you want my personal opinion, it looks like the Europeans could start doing business in dollars again. I'm not joking, folks. Look at the economic data coming out of Europe, for Christ's sake. Look at the Moody's rating. This is what caused this dramatic sell-off in the equities markets today, man. Because, look, we had, unemployment, or was it? Jobless claims rose 26,000 from last week, 26,000 from last week. That was bad economic data, but then we have good economic data coming out of the real estate market. What is it? Foreclosures are at 30-year lows or some crap like that. We're starting to see, certain economic indicators that show that, the consumer is spending again. Now, what could jeopardize that whole road of potential growth, and sustained growth with equities and earnings is this oil market. That's right. This oil market is going to put a clamp on anything that the Federal Reserve's trying to concoct, or anything that it's going to curb any kind of recovery, and we could potentially see a double dip recession even after the Federal Reserve's attempted quantitative easing of the markets by QE1 and QE2. It doesn't matter. It's not going to work if these damn oil prices go over $150 a barrel. Like I have said, I think that the consumers at this point in time, we're looking at the economic data that's coming out. People that are actually getting jobs again. They're getting paid once more. They're going out and trying to buy houses. They're trying to get mortgages. Actually, the mortgage interest rate is going up because of the amount of mortgages that are actually being applied for. There's just all kinds of economic data that's showing that there is a growth in the economy. What could stunt that is this damn oil price. And today, folks, I don't know if you've been listening to me all week. I've been saying we got to look to Friday, which is tomorrow, whether or not we're going to see a double-dip recession. And I, once again, would continue to eyeball tomorrow your equities positions. If you feel very uncomfortable, or if you're going down below a certain price that just doesn't make you feel right, get out. All right? I mean, I'm not trying to scare anybody. But as I said throughout the week, if any disturbing news comes out of Saudi Arabia, the oil markets are going to spike right back up. And as the market closed today, we have the Wall Street Journal coming out and saying Saudi Arabia's day of rage, it's not even begun yet. It's still like the early part, or the late part of the previous day, believe it or not, based upon where we are in the earth. But they're already starting to protest in certain cities right now. And out of the Wall Street Journal, Saudi Arabian forces are shooting rubber bullets into protester pools out there. And it's already starting to look like an ugly scene. And in the day of rage, or the so-called day of rage that has been organized online by factions within Saudi Arabia, hasn't even begun yet. So, folks, it just doesn't look good, and this is why I've always been saying here, I've made a few stock picks here, but, I was a little apprehensive. Everybody's thinking, it's a great market. You can just do anything. It's great. We're going to see 14,000 Dow Jones Industrial. We're going to see 2,500 S&P 500. We're going to see close to 3,000 NASDAQ. Absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. This is why I'm saying, folks. This is the capitalist game. You have to know about all this stuff. I know this is a very complicated ordeal, and a lot of people are kind of falling asleep at the wheel here listening, but this is what makes the money fluctuate. This is what makes people's assets go up and down. You got to take a look at all these factors here. All right, let me tell you, Moody's coming out and basically downgrading the credit rating of these countries is really serious, because it means that the potential default on any treasuries that's invested in Spain, Portugal, Ireland are going to be defaulted on. You're giving these countries your money. You're just giving it to them. That's what you're giving it to them. As a matter of fact, Greece today announced, or I don't know if they announced today, but I heard it on one of the news channels, the financial news channels today, that Greece is actually going to try to solicit Greeks that are in the international community, that are living elsewhere besides Greece, to voluntarily send money back to the homeland so that they can, recoup their socialist system. I don't know what the hell. But this is how stupid this is getting, man. All right, and this is what is, believe it or not, it's given more value to our dollar. And because our dollar is more valuable, everybody's sold off today, man. Everybody wants a piece of that dollar. And at the same time, they want a piece of America's treasury, since America seems not to, it doesn't seem like a weak link after all. Reports out of China, they're seeing their first, loss in economic growth this quarter. There's a lot of things that are in the positive for America to start thinking that, hey, maybe if we can just somehow have a government in our country that can inspire economic growth by providing certain incentives for corporations to expand their domestic investments, I think we may be able to pull out of this goddamn thing. I mean, at the expense of emerging markets, at the expense of the European Union. But I could give a crap about the European Union. But definitely at the expense of emerging markets. I mean, I was talking about this just yesterday, folks. You can look back in the archive. I was talking about this to a listener that called in. I mean, I think we're starting to see currency wars. You know, the economic currency wars here. I mean, I know that I alluded to that yesterday, and believe it or not, today on the Business Channel, Fox Business Channel, they had a feller, Liz Clayman, who was the one fine, hot-looking, middle-aged redhead, if I've ever seen one. But this broad was actually interviewing some guy who wrote a book. You know, all these financial experts, they all write a book. But in it, he's basically talking. He just put it out, by the way. He just put it out. As a matter of fact, I believe it is a #1 bestseller on Amazon.com in the nonfiction business or something or other. I didn't get the author's name, but I know that much about him. And he talks about currency wars. I mean, I was talking about it yesterday on my broadcast, and today they're saying it in the financial business channels, for Christ's sake. I mean, this is serious stuff. So anyway, I know this is a little boring for folks that are used to hearing me like, hey, and do all this other stuff, but this is very important for investors, man. You have to know why things are doing what they're doing. You know, you can't just sit here and just say, well, I don't know, it's just happening. No, there's a lot of economic factors. And believe it or not, all right, believe it or not, I when I was talking to this same Billy D. Williams listener, I was also alluding to the fact that as we start easing into this economic contraction in the equities markets, which I predicted was going to happen at this time, the only thing that's going to maintain profits, the only thing that's going to spike up in dramatic form in profitability are those that have good fundamentals. And I know that people were like, okay, whatever, Ghost, everything's great. I mean, I'm telling you, folks, you don't believe me. Let's go ahead and go to the board here so I can talk about some of these gains. Yeah, believe it or not, there was major gains in some stocks. If you happen to know where to find it, believe it or not, yeah, we had actual huge ass gains today. And why did we have? Why do we have huge-ass gains today? I mean, exactly. I mean, why? Because the people that came out today gave positive news, positive earnings, profitability, that sort of thing. Now, let me get this crap on the board here so I can tell you the stocks in question. Here, let me go here. Sorry, folks. Now, I want to talk a little bit about two stocks in general that just spiked up out the ass in initial day trading. I want to talk a little bit about Starbucks Coffee and Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. Now, Starbucks Coffee, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, go to that symbol first, GMCR. GMCR. Now, just because it was announced today that Green Mountain Roasters coffee was actually going to start being distributed by Starbucks, I want you to take a look at how much that stock increased today. All right? Because this is what I said yesterday. This is how the market's going to start to react. You got to be holding on to these stocks that have growth potential in a variety of different fashions to take advantage of these types of humongous spikes. Now, if you haven't looked at it already, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters raised up 41.41% today alone. Yeah, almost 41.41% today alone. Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, believe it or not, went up $18.07 a share today alone. All right? I'm not joking, man. And this is what I've been telling everybody that's listening. There has been, some of these stocks that are fluctuating out here. Some of these stocks that I've been saying, go bullish on, the investors haven't been treating it so kindly for a variety of different fashions and a variety of different reasons. Because, let's be honest, folks, the investor in today's market doesn't know their ass from their elbow. There was nothing up today in general. Usually if the equities markets are down, the commodities are going to be up. If the commodities are down, then the equities are going to be up. If half the market in the equities are up and down, then maybe we'll see an increase in oil and fluctuation in metals. There's always some kind of a consistency whenever you see a pullback in any one of these markets. There's no goddamn consistency whatsoever. These people are scared crapless, every single investor out here. This is why I said, and you can look back in the archive, folks, please look back. Yesterday, believe it or not, was a more important show than I anticipated because it did predict all this garbage that's happening right now, and it's episode number 40. Today is episode number 41. Yesterday was episode number 40. But if we look at Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, folks, look at the increase on that, man. $18.07 on a deal made with Starbucks, man. That's why I'm saying, folks, at some point, when this retraction fully implements itself on the equities markets, this is how you're going to make your plays. You got to be holding on to stocks for the long term, and you got to know that the stocks that you're investing in actually have growth potential. And how do you know that they have growth potential? You just have to look at them in general and say, okay, look, what's the potential for this stock? Is there a demand? Is there a market? Are they a potential takeover? Are they a potential takeover? You got to think of all these types of ideas on top of their competition, and on top of as an investor, you just can't stop thinking, man. This is why I'm saying yesterday's show was a very important show. As a matter of fact, Billy D. Williams, I want to thank him for calling up because, he basically, because of his conversation, I predicted what the hell was going to happen here today in today's market. Like I said, there's no consistency. It's a helter-skelter market. Everybody sold off commodities, equities. But if you look at the winners, if you look at this, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, it went up 41% today. Now, how would you have known that Green Coffee Mountain Roasters was going to go up 41.41% today? You had to have held on to it. You had to have been bullish on coffee. You would have had to have made a speculation and said, well, Starbucks, yeah, it's got a corner of the market, but I think there's still room to grow. Coffee is becoming higher priced as a commodity. It's becoming more in demand in an emerging market. Maybe I should entertain a long-term play for Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. And believe me, I wish I would have done it. I was sick. Believe it or not, I day traded this stock. There was a lot of volatility. As it initially opened, it only popped up 10% today. So you could have grabbed it at about, a little above 10%, 15% on these pops, and then held on to it until, it increased. The closeout today was an increase of 41.41%. It's just unbelievable. And this is how the market's going to start reacting, folks. So if you're seeing a little bit of a retraction in your portfolio, but you know that your stocks have fundamentals, they're in demand, they have profitability, they're just being overlooked by, helter-skelter investors. I just think that, in my personal opinion, if you are holding the right stock, because I think that at some point, I'm waiting for the damn government to stop, tickling its ass crack about this budget and, start actually passing some decent corporate tax initiatives, because right now corporate America is sitting on $3 trillion in capital. Yeah, $3 trillion in capital, and the only reason that it's not making any investments is because there's no actual initiatives to do so. And once we start seeing these initiatives, we're already starting to see some of these people that are just, pulling the trigger before it actually happens. And as I've said in a blog, that it's going to start becoming merger crazy, merger central. And I think that, positioning yourself in certain stocks that you believe could possibly be gobbled up by a competitor is not a bad play to be long-term on. Because I think that, with corporate America as a whole holding on to $3 trillion in assets, the probability of just gobbling up companies it's not a bad idea. As a matter of fact, I'm selling one of my own brick-mortar businesses, folks. And the reason is because there are some investors out here that actually realize that, hey, I got to diversify my own thing here. I mean, I've got real estate. Yeah, I've got some stocks. Yeah, I own some gold. Maybe I need to own an actual business. An actual sustaining, source of liquidity that you can consistently have on a consistent basis, that you can maneuver revenue from and hedge it in other places. It's just, in my personal opinion, I just think right now we're seeing the economic contraction that I have been predicting since January. If you don't believe me, look up any show. I've been saying it 90 times a show. All right, literally. I've been beating my head in with it. Come mid-spring, we're going to see an economic retraction, or economic contraction from the equities markets, and this is exactly what we're seeing. Now, what's going to screw up our growth potential? Like I said, oil. And news out of Saudi Arabia, folks. Wall Street Journal. The Saudi Arabian Authority is firing rubber bullets at protesters. And it's not even the day of rage yet. It's not even the day of rage. Tomorrow's the day of rage, which is an underground protest that was organized much like, the Arab Jehudis that rioted in the street like some post-Katrina wasteland, rioted and organized themselves through Facebook and all these other technological means of communication. And already in the after-hours markets, we've got barrels of oil spiking up, folks. So once again, this says to me that if there's any other stocks in my portfolio that are going to be affected because of the increase in energy, maybe it's time to maybe either cut them loose or just observe them tentatively, so that you can realize that, hey, the bottom line of your company could be jeopardized because of the increase in oil. And as I said in the beginning of the week on Monday, that Friday was going to be the test on whether or not we were going to see an increase in oil. And looks like, as far as I'm concerned, I hope that the Saudi Arabians, and I'm no fan of the Saudi Arabian royal family, folks, but let's get serious here, man. If Saudi Arabia goes under, we're in some serious trouble. Seriously, I'm not trying to hyper-sensationalize what's going on here, but we're in some serious trouble, man. Barrels of oil could be, I don't even know. I've said $200. It could go as high up as $250, in my opinion, if there's some serious unrest in Saudi Arabia. And, the unfortunate part about it is if the Saudi Arabians try to become too militant, much like Muammar Gaddafi, they're going to attract attention to themselves. Now, I don't know if you know this, but, out of the French press out there and, I'm from France, yes, Nicolas Sarkozy, Mr. Anti-Multiculturalist over here, is considering bombing Libya so that, he's claiming he wants to get rid of, the violence or stop the violence. But in my personal opinion, I think that you're starting to see France make a move for this damn oil here, And they haven't bombed yet, okay? The French have not bombed Libya yet. But, it's reported. You can look it up for yourself. Sarkozy's considering bombing Libya, as opposed to, putting up these airstrikes that have been considered in the media, which NATO has pretty much denied that they're going to do. Okay? Not to mention today, this morning, the headlines on some of the morning papers were that Muammar Gaddafi bombs his own oil fields because the rebels had overtaken a strategic oil position. That's a lot of the reason why we see an increase in oil up to this point. And he literally bombed his own oil field, much like I predicted in my blog. If you don't believe me, ghostpolitics.blogspot.com. And it's just getting sick out here, man. We're getting disorder from hell. Half the world is in disorder. Half the world is freaking broke. You know? I mean, Jesus Christ! I don't know what to tell people, man. All you got to do is you got to keep moving your money, man. That's all you got to do. You got to keep moving your freaking money. If you don't move your money, you're going to be in some serious trouble. All right, diversification is key. All right, diversification is key here. So once again, I mean, I hate to go over everything I just talked about, man, because I know it's a lot of information. This is why the investor was so scared, because they can't comprehend all this crap that's hitting them up. Remember, these are very impulsive people, investors, because it's money, man. Money's on the damn table here, you know? So when they hear too much information, they're much like the American people. The only difference is that they're in the money business. Whenever they hear too much information that they can't dissect, comprehend, and critically analyze, they sell off. And that's what you're seeing, you know? And I think I even said a couple of, two weeks ago, I said that we could see Dow Jones down to 10,000 going into May, in my opinion. And I said it. You can look back. I mean, good God, am I the goddamn prognosticator? I mean, seriously, man. Let me open up a can of beer on that one, folks. Cheers to everybody out there. I know there's not much to cheers about. We've seen some serious sell-offs in the whole damn market, but it just proves to you that the damn investor doesn't know its ass from its elbow. And that's why I'm saying, even if you're holding some positions that seem to be, you know, weakening, but at the same time, I mean, the fundamentals look good. Their position in their marketplace looks good. Everything looks good. I mean, the consumer looks like it's if they're a consumer-based stock, or if they're a gas-based stock or an energy-based stock or any of these sectors, just make sure that they got a pretty good position within their competition and the ability to be able to implement whatever it is their company does on a basis of profitability. And even if the damn investors aren't going into that stock, even if they're selling off, all right, if you know the fundamentals are good and, you know, they've sold off and, you know, kind of a major position in the negative, well, I would consider entertaining an idea of doubling down on that stock. Because, I mean, let me tell you something, folks. This little, this damn Green Mountain Coffee Roaster move today, an increase of 41.41%, is exactly what I said was going to happen yesterday. Look back in that damn archive, please. blogtalkradio.com/ghost is the website. Episode number 40 is when I talked. It was yesterday. It was just yesterday I was talking about this crap. And I said that future moves and future gains are going to be made on holdings that people have that, you know, good news or good earnings or something good happens to a specific stock, and it's going to make these things spike up the ass. I mean, look at GMCR, Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. $18.07 it increased a stock today. An increase of 41.41%. If that isn't reactionary, if that isn't impulsive, if that isn't a helter-skelter market, I don't know what is. And not to mention that we had so many damn sell-offs in the equities markets and no kind of reaction in the commodities markets. None. So you know that the investor doesn't know what the hell's going on. I mean, they're selling everything. I mean, and they had the audacity today, the investors had the audacity to not only sell everything off, but to put money in U.S. Treasuries, of all things, man. U.S. Treasuries, like the United States government is such a secure thing to invest in. I mean, seriously, look at the Treasury rate today. It was disgusting, and I'm not even going to say it, because if you're a bond investor and that's all you do, well, then you shouldn't even be listening to this program, all right? I mean, this is for capitalists here. This is for some bear investor that's going to sit on his thumb and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to get myself a nice little yield here of like, you know, a 5% or 4% yield there. Let's get out of here, you piece of crap. All right? I mean, you know, we're capitalists here, all right? We're not bears. You know what a bear investor is? It's an asshole that doesn't want to do his job. That's what a bear investor is, all right? A bear investor is some idiot that doesn't want to analyze all the things that are, going going to basically make the market go up or down, up or down, up or down. They don't want to analyze these things. Instead, they want to make it more technical than it is. Haven't you noticed that, folks? Anytime you go into these stupid little websites about stocks, they talk about, oh, well, you know, if we compare the trend of this metric system and I mean, give me a break, all right? The bottom line is you just got to know that if the company you're investing in is making profitability, you just got to know that their debt ratio is low. You just got to know that, you just got to know these things. And if you know that the fundamentals are good, and you know that there's a demand for the product, and you know that, at some point as the earnings come in, they're just all going to be positive, well, then you're going to see, and I'm telling you this right now, you're going to see the kind of increases that you saw today with Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. I mean, do you understand what I'm saying, folks? Just look at that chart today. If that is not reactionary, impulsive investing, I don't know what the hell is, man. I don't know what the hell is. And the reason, of course, folks, for all you folks that are just tuning in with us, the reason why Green Mountain Coffee Roasters was up today in a sell-off market was much like I said yesterday, the reason investors are going to start investing. They're going to do reactionary investing. They're going to base it on news. They're going to base it on earnings. And that's exactly what happened to Green Mountain Coffee Roasters this morning. It was announced that Starbucks Coffee was going to start selling a specific product of Green Mountain Coffee Roasters in Starbucks. And both of those stocks took off, but Green Mountain Coffee Roasters especially, like I said, I day traded that stock, and, it was just fluctuating all day today. I didn't hold on to it till the end of the day because I didn't think it was going to go up 41.41%. But you see, I'm not an over-speculator, man. I'm just going to get my profit and run, for Christ's sake. I mean, these idiots out here, I don't get what's going on in the investor market. You have to have fundamentals. I'm not trying to sound like a bear here, but you have to know that, the companies that you're invested in, even if they're taking a beating, on the supply and demand factor in the stock market, once those earnings come in, once those good news comes in, once those, deals come in from that specific company, this is what you're going to start seeing from now on, folks, just as I predicted, man. And for all you folks that want to know what Starbucks was, its increase today was almost 10%. 9.93% increase on Starbucks coffee. An increase of $3.43. Why the hell was Starbucks up? They're the ones allowing Green Mountain Coffee Roasters to sell their crap in their store. I don't know. I mean, do you see what I'm saying on these damn investors, man? So it's a hell of a day for day trading. I mean, it's a hell of a time for day trading at this point in time, folks. I'm serious. Hell of a time for day trading. But anyway, folks, I know there's a lot to digest. I've been throwing a lot of things at you today. I didn't mean for this to be such a serious day in the True Capitalist radio broadcast, but once again, I wanted to let everybody know that the reason that we're seeing this is because, well, it was a long time coming for this pullback. But the reason that we saw such a dramatic pullback today was because European debt is jeopardizing the integrity of the euro. We have destabilization in the Middle East. And believe it or not, the unknown certainty of the euro is actually increasing the strength of our dollar, which, believe it or not, our dollar ain't worth crap. I mean, our dollar ain't worth crap, but you see, you got socialist Europe over here that can't pay for itself, and Moody's today coming out downgrading, the credit ratings for these countries, meaning that there's a high risk of default for anybody who's investing in treasury bonds in those countries, and it just strengthens our dollar. And once our dollar strengthened, they're going to, of course, investors are going to take out those dollars out of the stock market. All right. I mean, you know that, right? They're going to liquidate those gains, maybe put some of it in their pockets, put some of it in other investments, put others in, whatever. And that's exactly what happened, folks. I mean, because that's really what caused this dramatic downturn in the equities market. Now, why was there a sell-off in the oil market? The stupid investors, man, they're stupid. They're stupid. Now, they're running around like chickens without their heads off, for Christ's sake. There's no consistency whatsoever. I mean, good God. And And not only that, today it was reported, I mean, I guess if you really looked for it, that France is considering bombing Libya. As opposed to, implementing some kind of no-fly zone, you've got Sarkozy considering dedicating France's air force to, bombing the hell out of Libya to supposedly suppress the uprising there. But once again, I think that we're starting to see real international unrest here. I mean, I think that this is a play by France to make a move for oil. All right? Now, I know people are going to say, "Oh, Ghost, you're just, you're just out of hand. You're just one of these guys. Just, you're a good prognosticator, but you're off your keister here, man. It's conspiracy theory here, man." Oh, well, why is Sarkozy making this public that he's considering his own military to start bombing Libya? Well, why do you think he's doing that exactly? I mean, do you think he's a humanitarian? I wrote a blog about this stupid, silly-looking bastard that he just admitted, what was it, a month or two ago, that multiculturalism is a failure. Yeah, he admitted it already, that multiculturalism was an absolute failure. And now what? He's got some heart for some Arabs in Libya? Like, I feel sorry for the Arabs in Libya, yes. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to, send my Air Force out there and I'm going to help the Libyan people, yes. And once we take over, we're going to give them champagne, yes. Of course not, man. They're making a move for oil. Do you understand that this is the Euro against America here, the European socialist system against America, and we've got European socialists in our government, and the only thing that's keeping us alive is us capitalists out here? I mean, are you starting to get that now? Are you people starting to get that the only people keeping this whole thing alive in America today is us capitalists? It's us capitalists, man. Now, why am I claiming that France is trying to make a move for this oil in Libya? Why am I saying that there's economic wars, currency wars happening with the Europeans and Americans? Why am I saying this? And same with the Chinese and Americans. Why am I saying all this? Well, because just take a look at all the strategic diplomatic little handshakes that have been going on as it relates to the European Union and America. All right? France today said, hey, we're going to we're thinking about bombing the hell out of Libya. All right? We've got the European Union making deals with people like China, making deals with people like, some of the South American, borderline communist countries. They're doing these types of things. And what did the U.S. do? What did the U.S. do today, folks? I bet you don't even know, because they buried it in the middle of 1,000 different stories. Well, our good old Vice President, Joe Biden, the man who's been in office for 40 years, a bureaucrat, Joe Biden went down to Mother Russia. Yeah, that's right. He went down to Mother Russia. And what was he talking to, the people in Russia about? He actually was, shooting shots of vodka or some crap with Putin. And Putin came out today in his own country, on his own television, next to Joe Biden, saying, I think we should eliminate the visas between America and Russia. There should be no visa. You should not be able to apply for a visa to come to Russia if you're from America. And if you're a Russian and want to go to America, there should be no reason why you get the visa to go into America. Now, do you understand what that means? Do you understand what that means, man? That means that we can actually, at some point here, it hasn't been agreed to, it's tentative, but, for Vladimir Putin to come out and say publicly that he wants to eliminate the visas, you have to, every time you go out of the country, you got to have a stupid visa, a thing with your stupid picture on it, and it says where you're from, where you've been, all this crap, all right? Well, they're considering just eliminating visa travel, or you can just get on a plane and go to Russia. That's what they're working out here. Now, why would America, or not really America, it seems like Vladimir Putin is more initiating this type of obvious show of sides. I mean, it's obvious that this move has shown what side the Russians have taken. And they've taken the side of America. Because, remember, if we look back about a year ago, they were trying to work out a similar deal with the European Union. The European Union was trying to allow Russians to enter the European Union without a visa, and vice versa, the people from the European Union to enter Russia without a visa. But, of course, things didn't really pan out, and, there was a lot of political and old bad blood, a lot of reasons why that didn't pan out. But now that, the European Union was pussyfooting around with Russia, and Russia, believe it or not, is a big oil producer, So, I don't know. I mean, this just goes to show you which side Russia has taken in the economic wars, and it's the side of America. Now, it's up to us as capitalists to guide the American government on what direction it's going to take. Is it going to take a more bureaucratic, socialistic type view that we've come to know and love out here? Or are we going to actually implement a true capitalist or something like a capitalist system like we used to have? Like I said, folks, 30% of America's income, entitlements, government handouts. That's 30% of America's income is entitlements. 15 years ago, 10% of America's income was entitlements. 10%. So, eat on that for a little bit, all right? Anyway, I know I've been, talking a lot, folks. I know that there's a lot of people out there a little concerned. There's a lot of information coming on this broadcast today. I'm sorry, but it has to be said, man. It just has to be said out here so that individuals know, how to speculate, how to go out there and invest and understand what's really going on. Now, don't get me wrong. I think at some point, I don't think this is going to see 6,700. We're not going to see Dow Jones 6,700. We're not going to see that type of crap. But we are going to see an economic pullback in equities. There's a lot of factors in that. But once again, if you're invested in a company that is going to have great earnings in the first quarter here, first quarter earnings are actually coming up here pretty soon. Some companies actually already started posting. So this is why I'm saying, you just wait until the earnings start coming up here in about May or so, and before you know it, it'll pan out well for you. If your company comes out with good earnings or works out a deal that's going to smell of profitability, you're going to see with your stock, whatever stock you're holding, you're going to see that stock replicate what happened to Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, symbol CMCR today. All right, I'm not joking. This is how the market's going to start to react. I've been saying this. Anyway, I want to hear from you folks. We're in the second hour of the True Capitalist radio broadcast. Of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me. I know that we've been talking a lot about some heavy-duty stuff. I know that people are sitting out there. There's not much chatting going on. And I'm assuming that people are absorbing the information. They're learning. They're analyzing. They're realizing, hey, there are a lot of factors here. And I'm glad. I'm glad to see that, man. I'm glad to see people out here that are listening that understand that, hey, look, what happens elsewhere affects our pocketbooks. What happens in the Ivory Coast affects, how much, we're going to pay in chocolate. The atmospheric disturbances and the droughts that are happening in the equator are going to, basically dictate how much we can pay at Starbucks coffee or for Green Mountain Coffee Roasters. Do you understand what I'm saying? We have to keep track of every single thing. As a matter of fact, today, we've been talking about the rise in beef, folks. if you're an avid listener of the True Capitalist radio broadcast, you would have known about this rise in beef. They're barely talking about it now on the financial news networks. Do you understand what I'm saying? So this is what I'm trying to help you as capitalists understand. We have to innovate our capitalists. Our capitalists have to be ahead of the game. We have to understand why things are happening and be able to analyze it, because if you listen to these assholes on TV, man, you're going to get screwed. Like I like watching Liz Clayman, all right? I'm sorry. Fox Business, they know what the hell they're doing, man. That's like business porn or something. You know what I'm talking about? They know what the hell they're doing. But anyway, Liz Clayman, this red-headed, middle-aged, stock-talking, whatever, she was actually interviewing one of these hedge fund managers, one of these jag-offs. I wish you could find it. I don't think they'll put it on YouTube, but this asshole was actually bullish on JDS Uniphase, last week. He was like, oh, yeah, I think JDS Uniphase has great growth. And then, 2 days ago, JDS Uniphase didn't meet up to the street's expectations and lost like 15% in one day. And these idiots are on TV. These are the idiots that are on television, for Christ's sake. So, anyway, I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me. This is the second hour. If you could please retweet the program, folks, if you have a Twitter account or some kind of social networking, the website to send them is blogtalkradio.com/ghost. That's blogtalkradio.com/ghost. It's getting pretty serious out here, folks. I'm telling you, I would still eyeball positions that you're holding in the equities markets if they get a little too uncomfortable for you and you don't think that your company that you're holding is going to be able to withstand higher energy cost, higher commodity cost, a potential unrest in certain emerging markets, and unrest in the Middle East. I mean, there's a lot of factors that'll, curb profitability for markets or for companies. So take those into consideration. But if you're certain and you're confident, and you look at these books and you say, hey, I can see the demand. I think it's happening. I'm gonna stick with it. Well, then, like I said, you'll be holding on to a stock one day, and yeah, it may be down 9%, 10%, but all you need is good earnings in this market, this coming market, because we're seeing the gradual sell-off as I predicted, as I prognosticated. And as we continue to see the gradual sell-off, I personally believe that we're going to get down to about 10,000 Dow Jones Industrial, maybe tipping towards the high 9,000s. But if you're holding on to a stock that is just like what happened here today with these, Starbucks and Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, they made a deal today where Green Mountain Coffee Roasters is going to have one of their products or some crap in Starbucks, and this is why you saw Green Mountain Coffee Roasters go up 41.41%. You see, you want to hold on to a stock where those types of profits are happening, But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what you want. But in my personal opinion, folks, I think we can take the $100, even a little over $100 barrel oil. But as we're seeing more and more unrest, or the reports coming out of Saudi Arabia, if unrest really takes a dramatic turn for the worst in Saudi Arabia, they're firing rubber bullets right now in the streets in Saudi Arabia. But if it takes a turn for the worse, it's going to be some serious shit. I mean, I hate to curse, but it's going to be some serious crap. And we could see 2008, 2009 all over again. So be ready, capitalist. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. I want to hear from you, folks. What do you think? I mean, like I said, half the world is in disorder. The other half is broke. The other half is broke. They can't even pay the people that have invested in their countries. I want to hear from you. 646-652-4869 is the number to call. 727, you're on the air.
Hey, Gus. So,
hey, what's going on, man?
What is the deal with oil, man?
I don't know what the hell the deal with oil is, man. I mean, it's these analysts, if you want my personal opinion, it's these analysts on TV saying, "Oh, I think it's overpriced. I think it's overspeculated, and I think of this and that." I mean, have you seen the analysts on TV?
No, I don't. I barely watch any TV. But I mean, what are they going to have to see tomorrow? Like Saudi Arabia in flames? I mean, you're not talking about some Libya or Egypt. I mean, Saudi Arabia is nothing but oil.
No kidding. And what's really unfortunate, and they're one of the main veins of supply here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, tomorrow's a crazy day to be. I can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow because there could be. I mean, if you get a NATO strike, if you get some sort of strike or some sort of anything, where it looks like NATO or America or France are going to step up to the plate, that could have a positive effect on the market. It could tank oil. But at the same time, man, if you've got blood running the streets of Saudi Arabia, and if you've got tens of thousands of people showing up, oil go through the roof, and equity is going to drop like a lead balloon.
I agree, and believe me, I am positioned, perfectly in oil, and not just in ETFs, but in futures, man. I mean, the volatility in these markets have been unbelievable. I mean, you could literally day trade futures, man. It's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah. The other thing is, if it seems like nothing's happening tomorrow, you could still have a tank in the equities because it's Friday. You've got the Saudi Arabia thing, and you're going to have a bunch of people who just don't want their money stuck in the market over the weekend.
It's a good observation there, man. I don't want my money. I've actually sold off a few of my personal positions that I haven't really advertised on the True Capitalist radio broadcast because, man, if you know that you've bought into over-speculation, just cut your profits and just get the hell out of there. But if you have a company that has good fundamentals and you know that it can stand the test of time, because not only is it just dependent on the American market, it's depending on some of these other markets that are, highly profitable. In Asia, Russia seems to be, believe it or not, up and coming as an economy. We got other economies out here that are actual markets for multinational conglomerates. So I feel that if you're in a stock that deals on a global scale, that's not entirely dependent on the American market, yet does have an appetite in the American market that could possibly be fed on top of high oil prices and maybe a crash in commodities or crash in equities. I shouldn't say a crash; that's a scary thing, but maybe a slide in equities. Then you're on top of the game, man.
Yeah, I'm right now. I'm 2 days ago. I shorted Google, and I've been thinking about them, looking at them, analyzing them for a long time. Finally went in the middle of the day when they were spiked high, and in 2 days I'm up 25% on my contract, on my put contract. So.
You put in on their decline.
Yeah, I bet on their decline, and I bought in on a midday peak when they were probably up $8 on the day. So I got a cheap contract. They came back down by the end of Tuesday, and then yesterday they came down, and then today they tanked. So I'm up about 25% on the contract over the course of 2 days. I almost sold out at the end of today, but I can't sell without knowing what's going on tomorrow. I just can't, because I think fundamentally Google's overpriced. So I think I'm good. I've got a put contract out in June, so I've got time. And I think fundamentally they're set to retract. And even though I was up 25%, I was tempted to take my profits, but I'm like, you know what? Not knowing what the equity, I think there's a greater chance the equities can tank tomorrow than there is if they could go through the roof. I think they could be flat or tank for the most part.
I think you're right. I don't think we're going to see any positivity. I mean, there was some pretty good economic data that came out for America, aside from the unemployment, height from last week, 22,000. But, you know, you look at the real estate market, man. The real estate market is starting to look lucrative again. The mortgage rates are going up because of the applications for mortgages. It's at a 30-year high. I think that we have a decent economic comeback, if you will, a decent economic. I don't know what to. I don't want to call it a full recovery, but we're starting to see the remnants of one. And you're absolutely right. You can't really predict the future. I am a pessimist, so I believe that we're going to start seeing some unbelievable stuff in Saudi Arabia, and that's why I'm securely set in oil. Even though some of these ETFs took a hit today for I don't know why, but I think it's because of a lot of the analysts on TV, man. They're really pumping the fact that this is over-speculated oil. And I think that they're being told to do that, if you want my personal opinion, because I think they're trying to calm down, speculators.
We know it was over-speculative oil. I mean, we knew, of course, it's over-speculative oil. It's speculation based on countries, blowing themselves up. I mean, it's speculative based on nobody knowing who's going to control these wells. It wasn't because all of a sudden we had more people that wanted to pump up their car than we had, 3 months ago. It was totally based on the Middle East, but I don't know why they think the Middle East is now calmed down. I mean, the other thing you had is, instead of saying it's over speculative, it's still speculative, but what happened is you had a bunch of people release more supply. You had OPEC step in, you had this step in, you had a couple, even the U.S. government, I think I saw a couple articles on some licenses granted for offshore wells for the first time, and you got all sorts. You got everybody, trying to squeeze some more supply. Well, if the demand is based on speculation, the last thing you really want to do is squeeze more supply because it ain't a supply issue.
No, it's not a supply issue, and that's what I was trying to say throughout the weeks coming up to this point. That, they're trying everything they can. I'm talking about the governments, OPEC. Everybody was trying to say, hey, look, we've got enough supply. We're going to increase production. We'll even open up the damn reserve, the oil reserve in America. They were trying everything to calm down speculation, but you're absolutely right. The speculation was based upon the potential unrest and the debacle that happens thereafter. We've seen that Egypt and what's happening there, they're killing each other because they're trying to start a holy war now out there, which in my opinion could spread I don't even want to talk about what could possibly happen, but I predicted this. This is why in Egypt, when everybody was like, oh, look at Egypt, they're for freedom and a revolution, I knew right from the get-go that these people didn't know what the hell they wanted. They were just obnoxious, primitive. I hate to say it. I'm not trying to say that Egyptians are dumb, but groups defined by its majority, and the masses in general are rather primitive. They got manipulated by Google and Facebook, and they went out there and actually rioted in the streets, even though they were incrementally coming into the world economy, even though they were starting to get a middle class. Even though the people, it's stupid, man. It's really stupid. And now they realize that all that rioting and all the looting in the streets and all this crap is not going to do any bit of difference. As a matter of fact, it made their situation worse. And now they're rioting in the streets once again in Egypt, which is going to happen if there's any more overthrowing of governments in the Middle East. This is the same kind of crap you're going to see because, in my personal opinion, if you have a revolution just based on hysteria, it's just going to be complete and utter chaos for a long period of time. But if it's based upon an intellectual foundation, well, there's a possibility that legitimacy can come to the revolution. And for the damn people in America, especially our goddamn media, to highlight Egypt is some sort of a great day in the world, just precipitated all this crap that we're seeing in the Middle East. I think it has a lot to do with the American media, Google, Facebook. I think these people should take responsibility for all this that's happening. Oh, I think you hung up. Well, anyway, I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to be long-winded there. I wanted to thank you for calling up, making that analysis. But seriously, that's why we have over-speculation on the market. It's a lot to do with the unknown certainty that is happening in the Middle East. you know? And like we're saying today, there are already reports that Saudi Arabian troops are, firing into the streets with rubber bullets. And it's not even the day of rage yet. I mean, it's tomorrow. They're already firing in the streets. Rubber bullets are already gathering around. They're talking about revolution. It's getting scary out there, man. Like I said, this is what's affecting all the markets. It's the destabilization in the Middle East, and it's the downturn in the euro. 727, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I had to call back in. But, out of all these countries, this is the thing, out of all these countries, Saudi Arabia is the most crazy nutheads of all of them. I mean, this country is the fountain of radicalism. I mean, they were the ones recruited for 9/11. Right. I mean, talk about madrasas and I mean, everybody in Saudi Arabia is raised to believe that the Jews drink the blood of Muslims as babies. You know what I mean? I mean, Egypt has a Coptic Christian population. All these other has a Christian population. And not to disturb you, but that Coptic population goes farther back than Islam. But go ahead. Oh yeah, Coptic goes right back to I don't know who they claim. They claim probably Peter, I think. But but I mean, Saudi Arabia, man, if that place busts wide open, I mean, you can guarantee you're going to have Islamic fundamentalism reigning in that country. And it's Mecca, it's the place of Mecca. So if there's any destabilization, you better well know that all these damn jihadists from all over the international community are going to converge there so that they can take it over, because they actually believe that there's some kind of sacred religious significance to this piece of geopolitical real estate. And, I believe that they're willing to go out and really willing to, sacrifice themselves in an attempt to try to overthrow the government and implement some kind of new Islamic state. I mean, I think that this is starting to become a little radical. I mean, I don't know. Do you see it that way? That's how I see it. No, he missed me. Put it on. I'll put him on mute there. But that's why I see it, folks. I think that we're starting to see some radicalization and all these destabilizations out here. It's just, it's just getting scary out here, folks. I mean, especially as a capitalist, man, you gotta make your moves. You got to make a bunch of moves out here. But anyway, I want to move on to another subject matter. I don't want to be all gloom and doom here. I do want to talk about prognostication that I made when AOL purchased, what was this, the Huffington Post. Do you remember Arahan Huffington? Remember that, the Huffington Post, AOL? We had a whole bunch of AOL investors calling up once the acquisition of the Huffington Post for, what was it, over $600 million, or some kind of crap like that, to purchase the Huffington Post, $350 million, excuse me. Hold on, let me look that up. I mean, it was just an obnoxious amount of money. Here, let me look it up. It was an obnoxious amount of money, but anyway, when I announced this, when I announced that the AOL was purchased by the Huffington Post, or excuse me, AOL purchased the Huffington Post, I was saying this was a bad business move. This was a bad business move, and that this business move was going to hurt the stock considerably, not to mention that it was going to hurt the bottom line. $315 million is what they paid for it, excuse me. $315 million is what they paid for the Huffington Post. Now, when I said that, this is a bad move, and I think that most investors should get the hell out of there, it was about $23, $24 a share. Well, today it came out and said that it's going to lay off 20% of its workforce. And why are they going to lay off 20% of their workforce? Because of this damn garbage that they invested in with the Huffington Post. All right? Now let's take a look at an AOL chart, shall we? Now, right now it's at an even $19. All right, now let me look at a 3-month chart, because it's about the time we've been on the air. Okay, I think we talked about it in
January, but January or February when they made this purchase. February 1st, the stock was $23.85. Since they made this purchase, it's just gone down, 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 all the way to 19 even. Now, I just wanted to say that the reason that it went down and the reason that I suggested it was going to go down, because this is how you have to think as an investor. Do you understand what I'm saying? You got to look at everything that your company does and really question whether or not it's going to be worth it. And if you don't believe me, folks, I wrote a blog about that particular merger. Ghostpolitics.blogspot.com. And the CEO of AOL was trying to justify $350 million being paid to a blogger website. Because let's be honest, that's what the Huffington Post is, a blogger website. It was just disgraceful. Utterly disgraceful. You know what I mean? Here, let me go ahead and take a chug of this beer here. But I just wanted to toot my own horn once again because today, I know there was a lot of investors that, that said, oh, man, I mean, Ghost, are you serious about that? I mean, are you serious that AOL bought the Huffington Post for $350 million? I mean, what does that mean for my stock? I mean, what do I do? I mean, and you can look back in that time. I mean, they were calling in and asking. And I was saying, in my personal opinion, I think that I would sell. I would sell off. I think that, a possibility of a a downward slide in the stock is highly probable. $350 million for Huffington Post is ridiculous. And now AOL announced today that it's laying off 20% of its workforce, for Christ's sake. Yeah. It's laying off 20% of its workforce because, we just got to do it. It's because of the acquisition of the Huffington Post. And not to mention that Miss Liberal, Arianna Huffington, she used a lot of these bloggers. I mean, there's only a few paid bloggers on the Huffington Post website. Everybody else is a free blogger. So basically what Huffington did, Arianna Huffington, she basically made $315 million on other people's content, and she's not even going to pay them 1 red cent. The bloggers are coming out and saying, hey, wait a minute, we're owed some of that cash, baby. We're owed some of that cash. We blogged for this stupid bimbo. Yeah, we got to get some of that $315 million, and no crap. I mean, if you contributed content for this piece of crap and you ain't getting none of it, well, then you're damn right that you should get some of that damn money. I mean, who the hell does Arianna Huffington think she is, man? And, not to get into any conspiracy theorists there, but we alluded to the fact during the time of this merger that it seemed to me, in my opinion, that there was some kind of collusion between, those that I guess, I don't know, maybe have a personal connection with Arianna Huffington and somebody that's within the organization of AOL. Because, like I said, if I was a stockholder of AOL and they did this, I would be calling up 24 hours a day harassing the company and until I got to talk to the goddamn CEO Armstrong himself and asking him, why in the blue hell did you make this purchase? I mean, in what book of economics is this a good deal, paying 30 times earnings, for Christ's sake? Not even 30 times earnings, 30 times net operating capital. Not even earnings, 30 times net operating capital, for Christ's sake. Good God. I'm glad I didn't know. I mean, I'm glad that the listeners that listened to the True Capitalist Radio at the time sold off on that stock, because let me tell you, you wouldn't have gotten bit on your ass on that one, man. And it's just going to continue to go down, in my view. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, $315 million for Huffington Post. I mean, who really reads the Huffington Post anyway, besides a bunch of bleeding heart liberals and a bunch of losers that want to get their communist pep talk, from the internet, for Christ's sake. Anyway, let me go ahead and chug this beer here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in with me here. Let me go ahead and take a chug. I just thought that was funny to see Tim Armstrong out here when he made the stupid purchase go on Bloomberg News, and if you haven't seen it, it's on my blog. It's a stupid little clip of him saying, "Oh, yeah, this is a great deal. I see nothing but good stuff. It's a great deal." And I wonder if the 20% of the workforce of AOL appreciates that, huh? I mean, hey, if there's anybody that's working for AOL and you just got laid off, I mean, it would be great if you gave me a call, man. Oh, are you kidding me? 646-652-4869 is the number to call. I mean, you give me a damn call if you happen to be an AOL worker that had to be laid off because Tim Armstrong decided to go ahead and pay $315 million for AOL. I mean, it's just... that's horrible. Anyway, I want to move on to another subject matter. I don't want to spend too much time on that AOL thing because I did predict it. I did prognosticate it. So it's all good. But anyway, let's continue on, shall we? I want to talk a little bit more about what we alluded to earlier in the broadcast, that, what we're seeing here is we're seeing economic wars. And not only that, not just economic wars, but literal military conflicts based upon economics happening in the international community. I hate to keep reiterating what we just said, but Nicolas Sarkozy, Mr. Anti-Multiculturalist, has all of a sudden found dramatic compassion for the Libyan people and is considering, doing some bombing, and literally thinking about bombing the hell out of Libya to supposedly help the situation that's happening out there. And anybody who knows geopolitical politics knows that this is France trying to make a move for that oil that's in Libya. You know it, I know it. All right? Now, what did the U.S. do today? Well, the U.S., like I said, and it should be a bigger headline than it is, but Joe Biden, our vice president, went out to Russia, I guess drank some Stolichnaya with Vladimir Putin, and I guess they had a good game of they had a good game of World of Warcraft or some crap, I don't know, but Vladimir Putin came out today and said Mother Russia does not want to have visas with America anymore. If you travel to Mother Russia from America, no visa. If you travel to Russia to America, no visa. I mean, he literally wants an open border with America. I mean, do you understand how, the serious implication of that diplomatic move is? I mean, it just goes to show you that Russia has chosen a side here. And they're on the side of America, and they're not on the side of socialist Europe out here. You know what I mean? Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable, man. I mean, this is what's happening. And Putin, Vladimir Putin is initiating this. So, I mean, it's not set in stone just yet. All right? But, apparently they just want, free exchange of people. They want Russians to come to America. They want Americans to go to Russia, and no visas. Serino's asking if this could be a trap. Well, I don't think so. I don't think it could be a trap because I think that the Russians want to be capitalists. They're trying to base themselves this capitalist model on their old Russian Soviet concept. If you want my opinion, I mean we've already seen Vladimir Putin. Crack down on free media, crack down on free voting. He's implemented these communist ideals, much like old Soviet Russia, but at the same time, he is loosening up the idea of commerce and capitalism, and this is what you're having out here. As a matter of fact, I mean, you're having what's happening in China, but a little bit lackadaisical on the authoritarianism. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're still authoritarians, but in Russia, you have a little bit more freedoms than you do in China. That's hard. I mean, if you can believe that. I mean, seriously. But I mean, this is a serious implication in American politics, I think. When you got Vladimir Putin, remember we fought the Cold War against the Russians, man. I mean, we built nuclear weapon after nuclear weapon after nuclear weapon to defend against the Mother Russia. I mean, it's sick, man. And now, we're at a point in time where the Russians just want to say, come on over here, my friend. Come on, American people. America, I love this country. Hey, I love this country, America. Come on over here to Russia, go to America. I'm serious, man. I mean, this is serious. I want to hear from you. What do you think about this? 646-652-4869 is the number to call. Now, I know that there's assholes that are communists that are out here that call up my broadcast and play the Russian national anthem. Well, if they're going to embrace America and they're going to be on the side of capitalists, well, play that Mother Russia, the national anthem, baby. They're capitalists now. They're capitalists now, man. How you like that? Take that, Stalin. Take that, Lenin. Anyway, I want to hear from you. 646-652-4869. 760, you're on the air.
Hi, Ghost. How's it going? It's the tech guy.
Hey, what's going on, the tech guy? How you doing, man?
Pretty good. I call you on a Google phone. I've set up a hack where I can get it where I am in Canada. I can get a Google Voice number and call you. And I found it on the internet, but I had to modify it a little bit when I found the blog how to do it. What's your opinion on Google? I use a lot of their products.
I think their products are just fine. I just don't like how they're implementing their technology and utilizing politics to enhance their position in certain societies or certain areas of the world. For instance, you Google, what was it, 2 weeks ago, now is telling the Justice Department of America to, go and investigate Apple and Microsoft's attempt at monopolizing the browser market. Google's pissed because, they don't want to bundle Google Chrome with, iPads or, Microsoft products. And you've got Google out here actually having enough clout with our government to actually have the Justice Department legitimize this inquiry of antitrust lawsuit, which means, it's a monopoly when it clearly isn't. There are other options of browser out here. It's just that, God forbid, Google doesn't take over a market in the technological industry, and, because they can't, they're utilizing, the government to, muscle in their way into the browser market. I don't like Google for that. I don't like Google, with this Whale Ghanem asshole inspiring this whole Egyptian revolution that's now turning into a borderline holy war. I don't appreciate Google for a lot of things, man.
That's cool. Hey, am I still on?
Yeah, you're on, man. What's up?
The BWC caught another pedophile last night.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he he claimed to be a 44-year-old, but he was actually a 66-year-old, and trying to pick up Moxie, pretending to be a 15-year-old, and Kishu stepped in. We uploaded the video. We can actually get you his phone number if you like.
Oh, man, you know what? Why don't you send it to me through email, and we'll do it tomorrow. It's Baller Friday tomorrow. I know that we're probably going to see some bad news in the market, so I'm sure people could use a pretty good laugh.
Yeah, that would be great.
That'd be cool, tech guy, man. You know the email, right? ghostpolitics@yahoo.com.
Yeah, I got that. I'll send it to you later today.
All right, man. Cool, tech guy. Hey, thanks for keeping up with the videos, man. Thanks for listening, tech guy.
Okay, thanks. Can you put me on mute?
Yeah, sure will, bro. You take it easy, man. That was the tech guy, folks. I want to hear from you. 646-652-4869 is the number to call here. We've got a lot of things talking about today. It's been a really hectic day in the markets, a very reactionary day. Nothing was up, and the only things that were up were over-speculated, like this damn market has always been, for Christ's sake. So anyway, we were talking about, Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden getting together in Russia and shooting shots of Stolichnaya or some crap. And lo and behold, now Vladimir Putin announced publicly on his own state-run media that, hey, we need to eliminate visas when Russians visit America and Americans visit Russia. We don't need any visas. Just come on down. Open border. Open border for Americans and Russians, man. I mean, good God. I mean, that's just unbelievable, man. Take that, Karl Marx. Take that, Lenin. Huh? Anyway, Pineapple Meister, are you there? Stupid Chinese Betty. Get him off, for Christ's sake. You see, man, we got these damn commies, man. These are communists. Remember, folks, when you're a capitalist, you're going to have these damn commies that want to live this stagnant life where they just don't want to do anything but be a peasant, you know? Because that's the foundation of Mao Zedong's Red Book, is that the purest form of humanity, believe it or not, as defined by Mao Zedong, is a goddamn peasant. You know, that's why he came out all the time in that stupid little peasant outfit. You know, he did it for propaganda purposes, you know? And believe it or not, that's the way people want to live like. They want to live like some goddamn peasant that just doesn't have to worry about anything, just kind of lives life and, makes really no contribution other than, some insignificant, stagnant, micromanaged government job. You know, I mean, give me a break. Let me go ahead and take a chug here. Ah, yeah. Very, very good, man. Anyway, I want to hear from you, folks. We got an hour and 14 minutes left in the damn broadcast. We're talking a little bit about Mother Russia and U.S. considering abolishing visas between the countries, for Christ's sake. You know? I mean, what the hell is this crap? Anyway, I know that people are a little concerned about it, but it doesn't seem like that many people are that concerned about it, and I don't think we should be. I mean, what the Cold War's over. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, no bad blood here. I mean, Russia wants to reposition itself as a superpower, and it's getting together with America to do it. I mean, this is blatant economic wars, man. I mean, Sarkozy, says today that France is considering bombing Libya for some humanitarian purposes. And, this is the guy who said that he is anti-multiculturalist. They're doing it for oil, folks. I'm telling you, I mean, this could precipitate into something global on a military theater front that, could not pan out very well for us. So capitalists, be on your toes and make sure these damn governments don't do something obnoxious, man. We have to stand up. We got to rise up, man. We got to realize that we, as capitalists, are the Vokes of this society. You got these stupid scumbag teachers in Wisconsin and these public unions all over the country pissing and moaning saying, oh, you're taking away my rights. You're taking away my money. It's not your money, you stupid, sick, filthy piece of crap. It's not your money. It's our money. It's the taxpayers' money. It's not your money, you piece of crap. You're nothing but just some stagnant piece of trash, Bottom line. That's it. Anyway, I'm sorry, man. 646-652-4869. I'm going to move on to another subject matter. We got the iPad 2 going on sale tomorrow, folks. I know everybody's all excited. I know, we got such a hard-on for electronic widgets in America, and I'm sure we would hump them if we could. But, I mean, really, who cares, all right? I mean, didn't the iPad just come out, like, what was it, barely, 9 months ago or some crap? And now all of a sudden they've shitted out another one like we're supposed to care? Hey, look, it's got a second camera. Hey, and it's lighter. Look, hey. I mean, give me a break. The people, the consumer in this country are so gullible. They're so stupid, man. And they just have to have the latest, Jesus Christ. You know what really makes me sick is when I go to the damn shopping mall and I see the iStore, the Apple store, for Christ's sake, the Mac store, whatever you call that crap, and there's literally like 500 assholes crammed up, side by side, against each other, jacking off over these damn, electronic widgets that they're not even going to buy, that are overpriced anyway, for Christ's sake. I mean, have you ever bought anything from Apple? I mean, haven't you noticed that it always has less RAM than the average regular PC? Don't you notice that the processing speed is always lower? And it's always. It makes me sick, man. And then, they give you limited amounts of opportunities to upgrade, I mean, no, I'm not. I understand but you don't understand, Ghost. The calibration of the hardware and the software that's made by Apple actually makes all that work better and work faster and work easier without crashing. Shut up. All right. I mean, give me a break, man. I mean, you can do. And I'm not a big fan of PC either. I think that there's a lot of bugs in PC. I think that the PC, it still needs some help. But in my personal opinion, I would much prefer to go out at this point in time and get myself a laptop on the market for like $300, then go out and get a laptop from the Apple store for close to $3,000. Do you understand what I'm saying? I mean, it's just disgusting. And, the thing is that, you have more expandability in PCs because of the interchangeability of hardware, peripherals, software, And what do you have to do with Apple? You got to go to Apple for everything, for Christ's sake. I mean, have y'all ever downloaded iTunes on your goddamn PC? Don't do it, all right? Don't do it, for Christ's sake, because, you can't do anything with your MP3s unless you buy it from them, for Christ's sake. You can't even put, music on your damn little iPad without, shoving it through a goddamn iTunes little software, for Christ's sake. I mean, just disgusting, man. This makes me sick, man. No, I'm just saying, man. I mean, seriously, that's enough. And I know there's some people that prefer AMDs. I'm a, Intel Pentium guy myself. I know that there's other chip makers on the market out here, but Intel has always been fairly decent as far as I'm concerned when chip making is concerned. But AMD ain't bad, man. I mean, they're not as expensive. They don't cost as much, and AMD, you can actually overclock them, and they should work pretty well. You could screw up your damn Intel chip if you try to overclock that crap. So, yeah, I know all about that stuff, man. 646-652-4869. Are you going to buy the iPad? Huh? Are you going to be one of these assholes standing in line in a freaking tent, sitting there saying, I'm sitting here, I'm staying for the iPad. I want to be the first in line. That's what I want to hear. Shut up. I mean, I want to know, are you going to do it? Are you going to buy iPad too? Is this something that, you need to have there? I mean, seriously. Anyway, 646-652. I buy Intel for my kids, baby. Somebody said that. I buy Intel for my kids, baby. No, I do agree. Somebody's trying to say that, Intel is overclockable. But the thing is that it's a little difficult, man. I mean, it's not, it's not as easy. I'm not saying that you can't, but you run the risk of ruining the chip, and the chip on an Intel chip is a little bit more expensive, than it is an AMD, Anyway, let's take some calls here. 408, you're on the air.
What's up, Ghost? Can you hear me? It's Goofy Bone.
Hey, what's up, Goofy Bone, man? How you doing?
Oh, man, I had the worst day. It's not even over yet. The stock market took a dump today.
Yeah, we talked about that all day or all in the first hour on why it happened, man.
Yeah, well, that was one thing. And then I go on a date with a Section 8er. And then, you know, Section 8 girls, they're all great. They're all fine and dandy. They'll blow your flute, you know, without even asking for anything. But this stupid fucking bimbo had the nerve to sit here. Right after we're putting all our clothes, she's leaving, and she goes, "Do you think you could I borrow $20 so I could get diapers for my baby?" And I looked at this.
Oh, no, don't tell me she did that to you, man.
Oh, I looked at this piece of shit ghost, and I said, and I told her like this. I go, "Am I the father of this child?" And she goes, "No." And I go, "Well, get your lazy ass up, call the father, and say, 'Give me $20. Who the fuck do you think? I'm just your dick. That's all I am. No more, no less."
Well, you know, it's funny you say that, man, because you know, I actually have a couple of brick mortar establishments where I have employees, and some of these employees are young gentlemen like yourself. They're single. There's a lot of single gentlemen, as a matter of fact, because these women are playing these games that you're just describing there.
Too many games.
And because my employees, kind of listen to me, they look to me as some kind of a father figure. They actually listen to me about, being fiscally responsible.
Believe me, Ghost, you're my father figure. Fuck, ever since I met you, Ghost. Trust me.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. But the thing is that sometimes to keep up worker morale, I'll take them out to a nice restaurant, and we discuss these things, and this is what they talk about. They talk about how, hey, I'm trying to go out there, I'm playing the field, and sometimes when they tell me all the time, sometimes when they got a woman and they take them home and they go through the whole horizontal mambo, and they feel good. They feel good after they have the horizontal mambo, and they're sitting there with the broad, maybe they're smoking a cigarette, who knows. And then, just like you said, they come out with this, well, I need a little help. I need, my kid. And the same thing that you just described, that's what they're doing. Now, to be honest with you, I think that if you score the poon before the payment, well, then you got off good, because most of these broads now, no, seriously, most of these broads now aren't even putting out, man. They want you to go out. They want you to buy them, they want you to buy a shopping spree of Louis Vuitton and all this other crap before they even give you a peck on the cheek. So you're lucky that you hit the skins before you even threw a 20 at this slut bag.
But you know what, Ghost? The nerve that this bitch had. I mean, we've only seen each other, 3 times. So it's like, how can you just sit there and go up to a total stranger that you just blew his Johnson and sit there and go, "Oh, I need $20 for my kid's diapers"? Get the fuck out of here, stupid bro. I'm never calling her again. But I wanted to touch up on the Russia, and I wanted to touch up on the iPad.
All right, go for it, man.
Okay, well, let's start with the iPad. Well, you know what, Ghost? I was one of these stupid, idiotic Apple buffoons when the iPhone first came out. I'll be the first one to admit, in the city of San Jose, I was probably the first one to ever had it, because I got it exclusively when they first had them off the conveyor belt.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right there in San Jose. You're absolutely right.
I had it. Well, my friend's wife, she actually... the Apple gave them all their family members the iPhone when it first came out. So they had extras, so I had one. So, I thought I was the shit. I'm gang banging on the streets, with an iPhone. Everybody's, "Oh, let me look at your iPhone," blah, 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 blah. Anyway, every other somewhat month, a new iPhone would come out. So here I am. Okay, I got one for free. Okay, let me invest in one, okay? I bought one for like $800. Here comes another one next week.
Oh, Jesus.
Let me get the 3G. Okay, here's another $800. So they kept going and creating all these. I ended up with 6 iPhones, Ghost. 6 fucking iPhones. And now they're only worth $200. So it's like, that was the worst investment I could have ever imagined. I'm not even
anything that you invest in tech. Anything that you invest in tech, you have to realize that you're just burning money. You know that because
exactly.
the technology that they're building today is meant to break. That's why they build it with plastic coverings and the internal workings. It feels like a flimsy piece of crap that you bought from some Chinese vendor at a goddamn flea market somewhere. I mean, it doesn't feel like something that that should be worth $800 for. But that's the point. That's why in my view, I buy all my electronics direct from China. And I know that I don't like the Chinese government, but why am I going to pay? Yeah, why am I going to pay $800 for an iPhone when, believe it or not, I've got a titanium projector phone from China that was unlocked that I was able to get, my phone number transferred to, and I can actually play.
Samsung?
What's that?
Is that a Samsung?
No, well, actually, it's the same model as Samsung, but
okay.
I actually know a few manufacturers in China because I deal in brick mortar retail businesses. So I was able to get this phone for a pretty cheap price. I mean, I think I got it for about $100, and literally when I pull it out, it's made of titanium. Believe it or not, it's like a silver phone. So when I pull it out, people are like, "Oh my God, what's that?" And they've never seen it before. And I paid way less than they did for their piece of shit iPhone that they've got there for $800. I'm sitting here with a $100 Chinese phone straight off the damn manufacturing lot, and these people are like suckers, man. So you know what you're talking about when it comes to these damn electronics. That's why I don't pay retail for any electronics. Nothing. I go online. I'll go out and I'll go to China. I'll go buy it in another country, and believe me, they'll ship it over here. All you have to do is make sure that it's unlocked and it's in the same frequency range as the American phone frequencies. But usually they pretty much are. And let me tell you, I mean that's the way you should be doing it. Go ahead.
Unlock it for you. You could get some Japanese guy that has his little kiosk at the mall. He can unlock it for you for $30 or whatnot. But let me also touch up on that Russian thing. And you know what? I grew up in the Cold War. I grew up believing we had a force field over United States of America because of good old Ronald Reagan. You know what? I went to Russia 3 times in my life. And believe me, every time I went, I've hated the damn trip. Those people do not know how to enjoy life. All they do is drink vodka and get so fucked up that they pass out, and that's it. And I don't know if you ever been to a Russian bar. Have you ever been to a Russian bar, Ghost?
No, actually I have, but there's not that many Russians that hang out in it. There's a place right here off West 6th Street called Molotov's. And they actually have all this. They actually have all this like Russian crap all over the place. But it's actually a rather sophisto bar. There's a lot of people that kick it in there, but no Russians, no.
Well, I gotta say, if you go to a Russian bar, you better be taller than 6 foot because there are broads in there that are bodybuilders. There's broads in there that are basketball players, believe me, and they're all sick and they all know how to use their body in their somewhat way. But to be honest with you, this Joe Biden and that other Russian scumbag, to be honest with you, I think that they are trying to do something where they're trying to make it look like, oh, we're all friends. But then you know how in the end that they're going to turn their backs on each other because of some stupid, idiotic thing. But
well, I would like to
friends
think
with Russians. That's all I got to say because in the end they're going to backstab you. Plain and simple.
Well, I know. I mean, let me tell you, I can't trust a Russian as far as I can throw them. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think that they're throwback maybe about 2 or 3, 4 generations back in human evolution. And the only reason I say that, and if you happen to be Russian. No, I want to make sure. If you happen to be Russian, no offense, but how in the hell can you be under such authoritarian rule for so long? I mean, dating back to the Tsars, for Christ's sake, the Tsar dynasty. I mean, do you understand that the Tsar dynasty treated the Russian people worse than slaves? I mean, that's where the whole terminology of serfdom. And for those people that don't know what serfdom is, SERFDOM Look it up. It's worse than a slave. And these people lived under serfdom for like almost 1,000 years under the czar regime. Almost 1,000 years. You know, and here we are. And here we are. You know, we're supposed to. Well, not we. I mean, here the Russian people are. They're supposed to be taken serious. They're supposed to be, you know, I don't know, a legitimate member of the human society and the international community, and yet these people insist on replacing one totalitarian monarch with another totalitarian secular communist regime. And, man, Stalin and Lenin just, they purposely starved to death the country. And I've said this time and time again, the biggest damn historically documented cannibal episode in human history happened during the time of Lenin's implementation of 1 step forward, 2 steps back, which he intentionally caused famine in his crops so that, you know, the people could starve to death. And believe it or not, people were eating each other at the beginning of the 1900s in Russia as Bolsheviks took over, and Lenin, you know, implemented this 1 step forward, 2 steps back. I mean, it was disgusting, man. So, you know, and you take that in consideration. Then after that, they had Stalin. I mean, you know, how much do you have to be in complete and utter terror and, you know, and be just complete and utter pathetic subjects before you realize that, hey, maybe we shouldn't be treated like this. And I don't think that the Russians could see that. I mean, they got cock eyes, you know, they got a protruding forehead, you know, they can't, like, stand still and, you know, not breathe out of their mouths. I mean, haven't you noticed this? I mean, these people just can't close their mouths. They're like, I mean, they're just sitting there, not doing anything, and then, I mean, I don't get it.
Every time you would see Gorbachev, he would have his mouth open. You know what I mean?
I just don't get it, for Christ's sake. Let me open up a beer here.
Yeah, cheers to you, Ghost. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers, man. Let me tell you something. I'm going to take a break right now, man. You have anything to plug, man?
No, go ahead. ReverbNation/GoofyBone.com. Check me out, people. And just leave me on the line, Ghost. I'm just chilling here. I'm having some lunch and shit. I took the $20. I took the $20 and I bought me lunch instead of buying diapers for a Section 8 baby. Can you believe that?
There you go. Yeah, that's how you do it, man. Buy a damn a lunch from you know, a pretty good establishment instead of buying some bitch's diapers for her damn baby that she don't even care about anyway. She just uses to extort the emotion out of everybody.
Exactly. All right, Ghost. You have a good day, my friend, and just leave me on the line. I'm here tuning in.
All right, man. No problem. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for calling there, Goofy. All right, that was Goofy Bone, folks, an avid listener, an avid caller to the program. If you've got anything that you want to say, give me a damn call right now. 646-652-4869. We got finished talking about the iPad 2. We're seeing if anybody really gives two rats' asses. We got a little sidetracked, you know, talking about Goofy Bone's rendezvous and his liaisons. So let me tell you something right now. I mean, I don't know. We just got sidetracked there. I'm sorry. Anyway, I want to thank Goofy Bone for calling in. Let me take a chug here. I'm going to chug this beer here. Here we go. Oh yeah. Whoo! That's what I'm talking about. You know, I actually bought a bottle beer bong, believe it or not. I mean, you know, I live in Austin, okay? And in Austin we have all these, like, you know, quirky little shops. And, you know, in one of these shops they had all this, you know, crap in there. We had a whole bunch of, like, head shops in every corner. And what you do is it's a plastic concoction that you just kind of, like, put on top of a bottle, and it literally just, it just, like, shoves all the damn bottle down your throat. I mean, there's no type of resistance because of carbonation. I mean, they just right down your damn gullet, for Christ's sake. Anyway, I don't have that, but I don't know, just random thought there. And not to mention, folks, I'm going to try to get a kegerator in my office here. That's right. I want a kegerator. I mean, I'm sick and tired of paying for all these beers and all this booze. I mean, I'm breaking into my good stuff too often, for Christ's sake. I mean, I'd like a good beer, and I'd like to be able to diversify, and, maybe one, I don't know, how long does a keg usually take to tap out, if you will? I mean, a nice good-sized keg, because I got my eyeball on a nice silver-looking kegerator. It's going to go right here. I mean, how many cups of beer is a keg anyway? I know that, they sell them out here in Austin, Texas, believe it or not. They sell them at the damn corner stores because the kids, they like to, purchase them for their damn parties out here. But how much does a keg actually hold? Does anybody know? Does anybody know what a keg holds here? Because I think a keg usually the going price $75. No, 200 beers. Jesus Christ, 186 beers. Well, geez, the hell am I doing? I'm gonna get me a kegerator. I know I need CO2 and all this other crap, and I need somebody to hook it up, so that's what's prohibiting me from doing it, because I don't want to do it, I don't want to, hook up a CO2 canister the wrong way and have it blow up in my goddamn face, and, lo and behold, I got, half a jaw or something looking like goddamn Ebert, for Christ's sake. I mean, Jesus. Anyway, 646-652-4869. I'm going to take a quick break, folks, but before I do, I'd like to remind everybody that this March 18th, all right, next Friday, not tomorrow, next Friday, where you're going to have the infamous Mike Vallely, or better known as Mike V, on the broadcast live for an interview. He's coming to True Capitalist Radio to discuss his endeavors, to discuss what he's doing. This is a quintessential badass, man. I mean, what men should, what boys that are growing up should grow up to be. Mike Vallely. I'm not joking, man. I mean, this is a guy who kicks some ass. You can do a YouTube search about this guy. There's at least 300 videos of him kicking somebody's ass. All right? I'm not joking. But at the same time, he's a multi-talented person that's a skateboarder. He's an actor. He's a musician. He's an athlete. He's a stuntman. And not to mention, he's a family man. He's a down-to-earth person, a charitable person. He's just an enigma, man. An enigma. It's why I'm saying I think that every male out here, instead of trying to live up to the quintessential look-alike of Ricky Martin, why don't you look towards somebody who acts like a real goddamn man when they need to, and yet know how to, be compassionate with their family and their daughters and kids and children. I mean, you need to learn a little something, and that's a man to learn from. He's going to be here March 18th. All right, Mike V. Mark it on your calendars, man. All right, mark it on your calendar. It's going to be next Baller Friday. And as a matter of fact, folks, not to mention this during the Mike V plug here, but next Friday, March 18th, is actually the deadline on our politicians to negotiate this goddamn budget that we're supposed to pass here. All right? So we could have a potential government shutdown while we're talking to Mike V, so that should be kind of cool too also. So anyway, mark it down on your calendars and please spread it around like wildfire. Because you just can't imagine how hard it is to get a guest on this broadcast. I mean, not even Andrew Dice Clay wanted to come on this goddamn broadcast. I'm not joking. He's afraid. I don't know what you're going to say. I mean, are you kidding me? So it's good to know that Mike Vallely, Mike V, is going to come in here. He's going to talk to us. He's going to, let us know what's up with him, his latest projects, what he's up to, what motivates this man, what inspires this man to be a success, and hopefully people can get some inspiration on it and do some things. Anyway, 646-652-4869 is the number to call here. Let me take a chug. Pretty good stuff. You know, I'm just going to take a quick break here. Believe it or not, Mike Vallely, everybody knows this guy as like a skater. I mean, this guy was skating with Tony Hawk when Tony Hawk was just a snot-nosed little pimple-faced teenager. You know? I mean, seriously, this guy was, one of the innovators of skateboarding. Yeah, I mean, this guy was skateboarding since 1984. All right, I mean, that's how old school this guy was. All right? But he's diversified himself, you know. I mean, the reason that I want to interview this guy is because he's the epitome of living life. You know, everybody who's out here who hates on yours truly or who hates on capitalists, the reason they hate on them is because they have no ambition. They have no ambition to do anything. If they had ambition, they'd be going out doing it. And I think that Mike V, on top of being an ass-kicking BMF, this guy proves that, hey, look, all you have to do is have the ambition and the initiative, and you can go out and be a success and be dedicated, you know? And, of course, Mike V isn't, Brad Pitt in stardom, but everything that this young man, or I don't even know if I should call him a young man, but this man has accomplished, he's accomplished, out of his own free accord, out of his own motivation, out of his own ambition. And I hope that some of the young people that are listening in will listen to Mike V's words when I interview him and hopefully get inspired to say, hey, you know what, I can do something else, you know? Now, I don't have to act like I just popped out of the ass crack of George Michael, you know? You know, I don't have to have the feminine physical attributes to be cool in today's emo-driven America. I don't have to have the feminine vernacular to be cool out here in America. I can be a man, all right? I can be a badass man, for Christ's sake, instead of some pussy-whipped bastard. Anyway, I want to play a song by Mike V. He's also a musician, folks. I mean, and for those of you folks that don't know his work, he's a skater. He's also an actor, folks. He's acted, he's done, he was the thug, long-hair skater in Paul Blart Mall Cop. He was the guy that actually skateboarded from the stairs into the elevator. I don't know if you remember that scene. This guy literally he actually did that stunt, from what I understand. He was also in the movie The Hangover. He's just a diversified guy, you know. I mean, this is how people should be living life. People should be living life like how they want to live it. All right? You want to go into a certain direction, you go that direction. All right? If you've already accomplished something in a certain field and you want to accomplish something else, well, go accomplish something else, man. But don't be pussyfooting around about it. If you make a decision, all right? If you make a decision, go out there and do it full throttle. Do it all the way. And I look forward, man. I mean, to say that I am hype about Mike V coming on the broadcast and being interviewed is an understatement, man. All right? Seriously. I mean, I just like seeing a young person or somebody that appeals to young people that still acts like a badass, you know? Straight up. Oh, man. Look at this. Some people are saying, I like boys with girly attributes, though. Well, if that's your thing, if that's what you like, I mean, that's fine. But, I'm just giving my personal opinion. I'm just giving my personal opinion about, the way the men used to be. We used to go out and, you kick ass, that sort of thing, Anyway, let's go ahead and let's listen to something on the musical side of Mike V. Now, this song is a badass song. Believe it or not, I like rock, and I got introduced to metal in the early 90s by my son, believe it or not. My son was into metal, and not to mention, he dabbled into that whole rap crap. That's why I am so acquainted with rap, because at one point my son in the 90s actually thought he was some kind of a gangster, You know, he tried to do the whole sideways hat, I'm going to sag my pants below my ass and all that crap. And I had to nip that in the bud really quick, all right? So what I did is, of course, you know, as a parent, you want to make sure that your child, understands what they're getting into. So I informed myself on what exactly was happening and what this hip-hop movement was all about, this rap movement, gangster rap movement, what the motivations were, so on and so forth. And when I realized that it was just a goddamn, it was a false bunch of BS, you know? It was a false bunch of crap that every one of these gangster rappers are nothing more than studio gangsters that are not real gangsters. They're just idiots acting like gangsters just so that they can sell a record. Meanwhile, you have kids that are taking this shit literally, excuse my French, all right? You have people that are taking this crap literally, and folks, I mean, I've talked about this on my old broadcast before I transitioned to True Capitalist Radio. Before I moved into downtown Austin in my high-rise condo up here down the street, I was living out there in Leander, in the outskirts, suburbs of Austin, Texas, for Christ's sake. And I actually had, during the 2008 economic contraction, I actually had losers. I mean, Section 8 entitlement assholes moving up into my goddamn neighborhood. And how did they get the money to move into my neighborhood? Oh, well, our socialist system, man. I mean, this one bitch that moved into our neighborhood, this bitch was a fat, disgusting piece of trash. See you later, Goku. She was a fat, disgusting piece of crap. And yet she literally shit it out. Like, it looked like 8 or 9 kids that come in and out of that house. All right? And, a lot of them are already in their late teens. They're already in their goddamn late teens, for Christ's sake. And believe it or not, these teens would go out in the middle of the night, sit there in front of their front porch, blaze Philly blunts, smoke 40 ounces, and there was nothing I could do about it. There's nothing I could do about it. You want to know why? This bitch was collecting gang loads of cake via the child support lottery system because she had multiple different fathers for these kids, and each one of those fathers had a separate income. And folks, believe it or not, if a woman has like 5 or 6 kids from 5 or 6 different fathers, there is a separate source of income for every single one of those kids. And if one of those kids' fathers actually, does something in life, he's actually making money, well, the court system actually heightens the child support the child support payment, So, as a result, this is how this bitch was able to move up into my goddamn neighborhood, man. And my neighborhood was an upper middle, not even upper middle, it was an upper class neighborhood, man. I mean, granted, I wasn't living in millionaire houses and crap, but, I mean, it was a 2-story house, man, 3,000 square feet, for Christ's sake. I had, a quarter acre of yard, for God's sake, man. Give me a break. But, luckily, the real estate market was booming out here. It's still booming out here in Texas. I was actually able to sell my home for a dramatic amount more than I paid for it. And it was too good of an opportunity to pass up, man. So, I took the money I got from that, which, I was paid off on that place, believe it or not. So all that money came into my pocket. I put, about $40,000 down payment on this damn condominium that I got down the street on West 6th Street. And let me tell you, it's great. I mean, I literally like to live like a city person. I've never lived like this before, but it's beautiful, man. I mean, I literally, like, when I go home and sit down and watch the TV, all my walls are practically windows, So, like, I just open up the windows, and you can see the city lights while you're watching TV, man. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm not joking, man. I'm not kidding. It's beautiful. And as a matter of fact, believe it or not, I'm considering selling the condo. Because at the time that I bought the condominium that's actually right in the middle of downtown, it's right there on West 6th Street, the time that I bought it, believe it or not, Austin was, having a real estate retraction in its inner city real estate because there was a speculation that there was a little tad bit of overdevelopment. And as a result, I was able to scoop up this badass condominium. It's beautiful, man. I mean, the damn view on this thing is just unbelievable. I mean, I know I posted the view for my office, which, believe it or not, the office is in a different location than my house. But it's on the other side of 6. Even when I look outside my office, I'm looking at it right now. Beautiful, man, unbelievable. That's why I'm saying, folks, I'm considering selling. All right. Selling my goddamn condo in Austin here, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm still trying to figure that out, believe it or not. I'm still trying to figure out if I sell this condo and I could get 40% more than what I bought it for. So I'm thinking that maybe, I think I'm considering selling it and then doing something else. I don't know what I'm going to do. I haven't figured it out. I got to talk to the wife. I got to see what's going on. I got to plan it out. But people are buying out here in Austin. I mean, the Austin population is growing like unbelievable. And as a matter of fact, I had a question from people in the private message asking me, am I sure that the real estate market is gaining? Well, just take a look at the economic indicators. The highest mortgage application, 2 weeks ago? Highest mortgage applications in, 10 years. No, actually today it came out. Highest mortgage in 30 years. Highest mortgage application in 30 years. You look at the real estate price as a whole. There was an article that came out. You could probably look this up. It's still probably fairly new. Even where real estate took a tank, like in San Jose, California, like in other parts of America where these real estate markets tumbled, they're starting to increase. As a matter of fact, San Jose, California has increased their price from their lows 25% on the real estate market. So in my personal opinion, I think that the real estate is fairly good. It's a short play, though. It's a short play because I don't know if you are familiar that the 30-year mortgage may be a thing of the past. Yeah. The government is trying to phase out Fannie and Freddie Mac. And they're not going to phase it out real quick, but just like with the Bush tax cut, it's going to phase itself out in like 2 or 3 years. 2 or 3 years, for Christ's sake. And once Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are no longer around, that's when you're going to start seeing the 30-year mortgage dwindle into oblivion, because no one's going to want to take the risk of a 30-year loan unless it was backed up by the government, like it was with the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac government institutions, for Christ's sake. So I'm bullish on real estate, but I'm short. I'm giving. Don't sit here and think that real estate's going to go up forever. I'm thinking about another 2-year spike in real estate. And it's not going to be at the amount of profitability that we saw in the early 2000s. It's not going to grow at that much rate. But at the same time, what you can do with a piece of real estate is you can buy it, you can live in it for about, 3 months, 4 months, fix it up, live lavish for a minute, sell it, and make a big, huge profit. And then take the profit that you made from that piece of real estate, put it on a down payment on another one, and actually live there or do the same damn thing, given the fact that the market is suitable for that type of activity. So anyway, folks, I got to take a break here, folks. I'll be right back. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to play a song by Mike Vallely's band, folks. Believe it or not, he's an actor, he's a stuntman, he's a skater, he's a musician. And let me tell you something, this is some classic-ass metal rock. You understand? This is a badass song if I've ever heard one in my life. Anyway, if you hear it and like it, make sure to go out there and, take a look at your iTunes or Amazon or whatever and buy it. All right? And not to mention, mark it down on your calendar, March 18th. All right? March 18th, Mike Vallely comes to True Capitalist Radio. All right? Now, before I play this song, I got to say I really like this song. I hope you like it too. All right? Make your own judgment call. But this is a badass song. His band is called Revolution Mother. No, seriously, that's his band, Revolution Mother, baby. And this song is called Runaway Train. And as you listen to it, just critically analyze, how raw this rock, metal, this, how hard it is, man. All right? Anyway, here we go. Here's Revolution Mother, Runaway Train. This is Mike Vallely's band. Here we go. That was just awesome, man. Awesome. That was Mike Vallely, Mike V, better known as Mike V. That was Revolution Mother. All right? Revolution Mother, Runaway Train was the name of the song. Make sure to go to your iTunes and Amazon.com accounts and download that song, man, because this is badass stuff, man. All right? That's just badass. Yeah, Mike V. They're like, Mike V makes music too? Yeah, it was Mike V. Yeah, that was Mike Vallely right there, man. He's a skater, he's an actor, he's a stuntman, he's an athlete, he's a musician. I mean, I'm excited to have him on March 18th and interview this man. You know what I'm saying? Hell yeah. Here, let me take a chug of this. Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, there's some people in here that always say that whenever I take a chug out of the beer, they don't believe me. They think that I'm faking, or it's some kind of a goddamn, Soundwave or some crap. It's like beerchug.wave. No, man, it's me drinking like a man. That's what it's drinking. I don't sip beers like a pussy. You know. That's what I'm saying. Check it out. Listen. Woo! Anyway. Let's take some more callers, shall we? 646-652-4869 is the number to call. Let me take one call here, and then we'll move on to another subject matter, shall we? Gladys, is that you?
In jeder Stunde, an jedem Tag, nur zu denken an Deutschland, an Volk und an...
Stupid idiot. Get him off, for Christ's sake. What the hell was that about? Huh? Throwing some Adolf Hitler crap on my goddamn program, for Christ. What the hell's your problem, huh? You stupid, silly bastard. You know, why don't you shove a goddamn wiener schnitzel and, get yourself a bagpipe and shove it up your ass. Lederhosen wearing piece of garbage. Well, I'm not saying that to all the Germans. I take that back. The Germans are actually pretty productive people. The Germans are the only ones keeping the European Union alive, believe it or not. Yeah, I mean, they're the only ones keeping the European Union alive, for Christ's sake, because you want to know why? The Germans have good work ethic. The Germans, they got good work ethic. And they actually take pride in their work, and that's why, the Germans, they still export stuff. Anyway. Before I take another call here, I want to get to another subject matter before it gets too late. I want to talk a little bit about this one girl, this New York teenager out of New York, that's actually being charged with a felony for getting pissed off and throwing her hamster out a window. And according to the report, the hamster sustained a blunt force trauma to the head and body and died instantly. I'm not joking. I mean, in New York, they are going to prosecute some teenager for, throwing, apparently, according to how the story goes, allegedly, the little girl was having a fight with her parents or something. She got pissed and got the hamster, threw it out the window, and that's all there is to it, all right? Parents or something called the cops. And the district attorney out there is actually charging this little girl here, or teenage girl, I shouldn't say little girl, but this teenage girl with a felony for killing a hamster. I mean, if we're gonna, prosecute this little girl for killing a hamster, can we prosecute all the gay people in the 80s that used to tape hamsters up and shove them up their ass? Can we do that? I'm just saying, you remember that trend? I know that, a lot of you folks in the 80s, you want to forget that, but, I remember it very vividly, all right? I mean, when, these homosexuals at the time in the 80s, I don't know what the hell it was about, but they would actually tape up these hamsters or rats or mice. They would tape their bodies up and then literally shove these live animals up their ass. All right, and what would happen, and I'm not joking, I know, I'm not joking, I know there's people out here, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disgust you, but that is not a joke. This was an actual phenomenon. I mean, you can look it up. They would stick these, rats or hamsters up their ass, and the hamster or rat would, be there with, with its paws, like, suffocating in the ass cavity, And literally, that's how the gay person got off, was through the suffocation and the wiggling process of the hamster is the reason why they shove these rats and hamsters up their ass. So, and of course, the hamster would die. It's not like they would survive up in that anal cavity. I mean, it's just, I know that, I'm sorry. Look, I know there's people out here saying, oh, that's sick, Ghost. I mean, what the hell's going on? Hey, I don't understand why some New York prosecutor is trying to make their name for themselves by prosecuting some little girl. Okay, she got pissed off. She threw a freaking hamster out the window. Big deal, all right? You know, charge her with disorderly conduct, throw her in juvie hall, and give her a scare, and that's it, all right? I mean, it's a hamster. It's a freaking rat. I mean, why do we sell rat traps if we're going to be charging, teenage girls out here with felonies for killing hamsters? We might as well outlaw all rat poisons. We outlaw all rat traps. You know, we got to outlaw all this stuff. You know. I mean, give me a break. Here, let me go ahead and take a chug here. I'm sorry, folks. I know there's a lot of people with their jaws dropped. Like, are you kidding me? I mean, you know, are you kidding me? You're sitting here saying that, you know, this was actually something that was a fad in the 80s? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, let me tell you, you know, I mean, look it up. I mean, I can see that there's not that many people chatting. They're actually trying to look this up. But, yeah, I mean, you know, these damn homosexuals used to just utilize hamsters and rats and mice for sexual gratification devices, you know? I'm not joking. I mean, this was an actual phenomenon. So what happens to those gay people that did all that through the 80s? I mean, are they just absolved? You know, do they just get a pass? Because if you read the report about this girl, and you can find it on Google or, you know, Bing or any of your search engines, just put in New York teen kills hamster, and you'll find it. And believe it or not, they're taking this serious, for Christ's sake. These idiots are actually, oh, the hamster suffered blunt force trauma and died instantly upon impact. Like it's a damn human or some crap. I mean, good God, man. and this poor girl, you know, some stupid teenager, you know, you're going to get a felony because she killed a goddamn hamster, huh? There's people out there with chainsaws, you know, there's assholes out there that, you know, are committing serious crimes, murders and crap, and here we go, you know. This is, you know, we got some DA in New York, you know, trying a hamster killing. Stupid, man. Anyway, I'm going to move on to the next subject matter because I want to end the show with this. And I want to talk a little bit about how now, according to divorce attorneys, and according to the data submitted by all the cases that are submitted to divorce courts across the country, the leading cause for divorce now, folks, is Facebook. Yeah, that's right. As a matter of fact, Goofy Bone, you know, he's an avid listener, he's an avid caller. We heard him earlier. I remember him calling up about 2 or 3 weeks ago talking about this kind of thing, because I was not familiar with the fact that women are literally utilizing Facebook to become just complete and utter sluts. You know, utilizing Facebook to go out and look for a nighttime banging session. Well, according to all the reports that are coming out, allegedly the number one cause for divorce at this point in time is Facebook. Shenanigans relating to Facebook out here. And I think this is pretty sick, man. You know? I think this is pretty damn sick, for Christ's sake, for us to, you know, have to embrace Facebook. I mean, what else is Facebook going to screw up? They sat here and they inspired all these destabilizations of all these Middle Eastern countries. Now we come to find out that, you know, it's a place to go for people to, you know, cheat on their spouses on. I mean, good God, man, we're just turning into a bunch of digital heathens, you know what? It's one thing to be single. All right, you're a single person. If you're a single man, single woman, it doesn't matter, okay? But just make sure you don't have any children, which it seems like that's going into one ear and out the other when you tell these bastards that. But at the same time, why, you know, I don't know. Maybe I don't get it, man. I don't get it. Maybe that's the new way to bang broads now, you know, and vice versa. broads that are a little hard up, you know, and they can just kind of go on Facebook and say, yeah, come on and give me the high hard one, baby. Anyway, I'm going to take some calls here. We got 15 minutes left in the broadcast. 646-652-4869 is the number to call here. We got 213 on the line. What's going on, 213?
What's going on, baby? Look, I'm talking about the hamsters, and I think that girl that killed that hamster should get the same time that Mike Vick got, baby. If Mike Vick could do 2.5 years for killing some dogs, that little teenage girl needs to do 5 years at least. Because that
Are
right.
you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You're actually comparing what Mike Vick did to some little girl who throws a hamster out the window. You're comparing the same thing. I mean, how do you make that correlation? And stop choking that kid, God damn it!
Look, baby, I read the news report. And that girl, she actually choked that hamster before she threw it out the window. And you know, that's the same thing. That's to me the same thing Mike Vick did. So why Mike Vick get 2.5 years? This little girl gonna get off on nothing, baby.
All right, well, hold on. I can't talk over your, shit diapered baby continuing to cry. So just hold on there, 213. I'm going to bring you back. But for you to sit here and say that Mike Vick is somehow a comparable like punishment for this little girl is ridiculous. Okay, she choked a hamster. Okay, big deal. All right, I mean, big deal, man. I mean, a felony, a freaking felony. And now we've got you calling up saying, yeah, Mike Vick. Now, I'll agree with you. I think that Mike Vick going to jail for killing some dogs is ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. Do you idiots know that in all these pounds and all these animal shelters all across the country, these animal shelters are massacring dogs by the day? I know y'all don't want to know that. I know that y'all just want to, make believe that these goddamn shelters are all taking care of these dogs and feeding them, and it's goddamn 101 Dalmatians or some crap, or all dogs go to heaven. But inevitably, these damn animal shelters, these pounds, they're massacring these dogs. They're just killing them in mass amounts. Now, for Mike Vick, and I'll agree with the caller here in 213, I agree that Mike Vick should not have gone to prison for killing some damn dogs. All right, I think it's stupid. Now, should he have gotten banned from the NFL and had some kind of repercussion of that regard? Well, then that's up to the private enterprise of the NFL to decide. But to sit here and make a point out of Mike Vick is ridiculous. So I'll agree with you, 213, that, Mike Vick, he shouldn't have got that. But how can you sit here and make a comparison to some teenage little, and the whole reason she's a nutcase, let's be honest, it's her stupid parents. I mean, but we all want to forget about the parents when these kids do something bad. It's these stupid parents that either weren't there or were there too much and implemented some freaked out ideas in the head of this youth that made them do what they do. So we completely forget that. And you're sitting over here, hopefully you got that kid shut up. You're sitting over here talking about how this girl deserves the same punishment. I mean, are you serious? Are you really?
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. I'm serious. I'm sorry. My baby daddy out there working the corner. You know what I'm saying? He's trying to make his money, so I got to keep my kid right now. And I'm sorry about that. I'm not trying to disrupt the show, Ghost, but I'm just saying.
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Did you just say your baby daddy? Your baby daddy?
Yeah, my baby daddy. He's out there. He's doing his thing right now, making money for me and my kids. And I'm not going to hold that against him. But I just want to talk about that girl that choked that hamster. I mean, Mike Vick, he killed some dogs, but she killed a hamster. She choked the hamster. You know what I'm saying? Do you realize how much ruthlessness it takes?
Yeah, but you know that Mike Vick electrocuted dogs and choked them and hanged them and stabbed them, for Christ's sake?
Yeah, baby, I understand, but those dogs weren't performing up to standards.
You're a sick bastard. You need to shut that kid up, first of all, and secondly,
Go.
What?
Go.
What's up?
Ghost, baby, you still there, baby?
I'm still here. What's the problem? What's up? Are you all right? You sound like you're choking that kid, man.
Baby, I was just putting my nipple in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? He ain't even yelling no more. But I'm just saying that girl, she deserves.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. You just said that your baby daddy is out, all right? And now you're suggesting that you're breastfeeding the child. What sex are you, to be exact?
I'm female, baby. I'm California female gangster bitch. You know what I'm saying? Ghost.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Get this idiot. Get him off! I mean, it is just sick, man. Are you kidding me? Did you hear this guy? He's talking about his baby daddy. His baby daddy, for Christ's sake. And then he's talking about this poor baby sucking on a male teat. What is he going to get out of it? I don't know, But good God, this is getting obnoxious. This is getting horrible here. Good Lord. Here, let me take a chug of this beer before I start falling out or something. Anyway, folks, I got about 10 minutes left in the broadcast. I'm going to go ahead and keep it free format. So check it out. If you want to have something to say, if you have an opinion about this sort of thing, if you have an opinion about Facebook becoming the number one source of divorce, I want to hear from you, man. I want to hear from you. If you think that somehow this is, human evolution, that's what I like about liberals. Or not, I don't like it about liberals, but it's funny about liberals, is that they'll actually describe all these, social warped ideas that have become the social norms. They'll actually correlate them with evolution. Yeah. They'll be like, that's evolution, Ghost. For a baby to suck on a man's teeth, that's evolution. We should be embracing that. We should be promoting that. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, it just gets me pissed, man. I mean, it just gets me pissed because I try to. I try my damnedest to go out, spread the word about capitalism, and This is the kind of crap I get. This is the kind of crap I get. This is the kind of crap I get, God! This is the kind of crap I get, for Christ's sake. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh. God. God. God damn it! Make me sick, man. I just get no respect here, man. I got no respect. Don't you understand that? I'm sitting over here. I'm shooting your pearls here. I'm shooting your pearls, and I get no goddamn respect. Goodness me. I'm sorry, folks. I gotta calm down here. I gotta calm down. I gotta calm down here. I gotta calm down. I'm sorry, folks. I'm just getting pissed, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, here I am. I'm trying to spread the idealism of capitalism. I'm trying to let everybody know how to analyze this new global economic system that we all encompass. I'm trying to let everybody know what everything is all about when it comes to the game of capitalism. I'm trying to let everybody know that you don't have to you don't have to accept mediocrity. You don't have to accept the garbage that's being put forth to you. You are in control of your own life. The only thing that you need to do is have ambition. You need to have ambition, and you need to have dedication. You need to stick with whatever the hell you're going to do. We live in a day and age of such instant gratification that these idiots, if things don't pan out within like 2 or 3 days, these idiots are just dumping it off like it's some, disgusting piece of garbage. Instant gratification is what we're into here in America, and it makes me sick. Literally, it makes me sick to my stomach. Anyway, we got 5 minutes left in the broadcast, folks. For all those folks that don't know, next week is spring break. And I've considered possibly taking next week off up until Friday because it's spring break. But I don't know yet. I don't know. I'll make it for sure tomorrow. But I don't know. I mean, because, hey, it's spring break, man. It's spring break. There's going to be South by Southwest out here in Austin, Texas. Hey, try to look up a damn room out here in Austin, Texas, and you ain't going to be able to find one in spring break, baby. South by Southwest is in the house, and, I might want to go out and, check out the festivities, Might go out there and want to shoot some shots, chug some beers or something. But that is not certain, folks. It's not certain. I don't know if I'm going to, take the week off next week or not, although I am going to be on, for sure, March 18th, next Friday, which is Mike Vallely coming in to the True Capitalist Radio broadcast for an interview, and I'd like for you to please spread that around like wildfire. I mean, tell everybody you know that Mike Vallely, Mike V., the infamous skater, infamous actor, musician, stuntman, athlete, he's going to be right here, True Capitalist Radio Show, March 18th. As a matter of fact, why don't, if you're listening in, vote for Mike V. He's actually nominated for a Revolver Golden God Award. Yeah, Revolver Magazine has an award show, and they've nominated Mike Vallely for most metal athlete, believe it or not. And you should see the other competitors in that. I mean, it's really stupid. I mean, no one should compare to Mike Vallely. I mean, they got a stupid a wrestler in there that barely, puts any work in. I mean, they got a couple other people that they throw in there. But, if you have some time, go to Revolver Magazine and vote for Mike Vallely for most metal athlete, so we can show how much clout we have out here in the True Capitalist Radio Show to get things done. And not to mention, he agreed to do the interview. I mean, nobody wants to do an interview on True Capitalist Radio broadcast. I mean, Andrew Dice Clay said no. Andrew Dice Clay said no. I mean, this is a guy who talks about the most vulgar, disgusting, despicable things that you've ever heard in your life, and yet he didn't want to come on True Capitalist Radio because he was scared crapless. He was scared crapless of yours truly. And believe me, I was talking to his agent, but he didn't want none. He didn't want to come on here, for Christ's sake. So anyway, that's why I'm promoting Mike Vallely. Good man, a man to look up to. Spread the word. March 18th, he's going to be right here on True Capitalist Radio broadcast. So anyway, folks, we got 2 minutes left. I want to say thank you once again for tuning in with me. Everybody who's tuning in with me live or in the archive, I want to thank you. Once again, if you could please spread the word about the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. blogtalkradio.com/ghost is the link to send people. Not to mention, follow me on Twitter. All right? You would have known about this sell-off when I was trading in the futures markets this morning and been able to move some positions had you been listening to me on Twitter. So watch the Twitter account. Ghost Politics is the Twitter account to follow. Ghost Politics, all one word, no underscores. All right? Believe me, it may save you some money. And not to mention, I got a YouTube channel, folks. The YouTube channel is also Ghost Politics. Check that out. And the official true conservative blog, ghostpolitics.blogspot.com. Anyway, I'm out of here. Tomorrow's Baller Friday. And I'm going to be here, same place, same time, 4 to 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm here every Monday through Friday. And I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope you'll be here tomorrow. Spread the word, folks, and let everybody know about the True Capitalist Radio Show. I'm out of here. Long live capitalism.
You've been listening to True Capitalist Radio. The thoughts, views, ideas, comments, and opinions of the host of this show are absolutely his. Catch more live episodes Monday through Friday from 3:30 to 6:30 Central, or check out archive shows at blogtalkradio.com. True Capitalist Radio.
That's it.
Boar's Head is bringing a slice of Japan to the deli. Introducing Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. Tender, slow-roasted chicken breast, coated in our signature teriyaki glaze, where ginger, garlic, and a hint of brown sugar meet for a flavor that's both sweet and savory. New Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. The bold flavor of Japan. Now at the deli. Only from Boar's Head. Compromise elsewhere.